7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman,
Live, direct.
it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
All right, folks, I feel like saying Monday, but it's actually Friday. Happy Friday. Hope that you guys are doing well. Guess what? I'm back. I know it's been a minute, folks. We're going to talk all about it this morning. A lot of you are still wondering, where was she? Where did she go? I've given you hints, and some of you still haven't gotten it, but we'll talk about all of that and so much more. I'm so glad to be back. Can I just tell you that I missed you guys? I know you guys missed me. And you know what? We're family here. We might be a little bit dysfunctional at times, but I don't care. We're still family, and we're going to just keep this train moving. So good morning to everyone. I'm so happy to be back. Good morning, classmates. We've got K-Man 49ers says Sandra is back just in time to kick off the weekend. Connie, no, we actually start at 7:35 because normally we're over at 106 doing the news with them, but we'll do that on Monday. So we were still on time, had our timer over here. Oh my gosh, I felt like I've been gone a lot longer than 2 weeks. So I was in my head like, okay, let me make sure I remember all the moving parts. But don't worry, it's like riding a bicycle. Speaking of which, let me send out notifications to everybody in WhatsApp. It's like riding a bicycle. It'll all come back to me, and yeah, we'll be good. So I hope that you guys have been having a good time without me. I've received all of your messages. Thank you guys so much for just the amazing, I miss you, hurry up and come back. Some people threatened to take my passport forever. So we'll talk about all of those fantastic things. So Connie, Irvelyn is here. Where's Miss Vernita? I'm missing the usual suspects. But thank you. Irvelyn says, I missed you. Good morning, honey. Corrine says, good morning, all. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Welcome back. We missed you, Sandy. Thank you. Olivia, thank you so much. We've got Cece McLaughlin in the house. Robert is here. KK is here. Keisha. Juliet. Yes, Juliet, you're right on the money. We're going to talk about it. Patricia Blake, thank you so much. Jamila is here saying, welcome back. We are so glad. Charm, yes, we're going to talk all about the details of the trip. Stephanie Brooks is in the house. Thank you. Aliano says, like a crackhead, I was needing this, had me listening to word of mouth for my fix. I apologize, Aliano. But listen, we've got some guests in the studio. We'll get back to all of our greetings here in a second. We've got some guests in the studio. And of course, I think we're going to give away a ticket, Mel. I'm putting you in the spot. Yes, we're going to give away a ticket. But listen, sit back and listen to this little snippet for a second, because you guys have got to guess this will be the trivia question for ticket. Who are our guests this morning? I'm going to put it right in your face. Here you go.
I can see the willows waving on your southern shore as the breeze gently whispers through the trees. And the song I hear you singing flows across the distant shores, and it seems to say, my child, come back to me.
Come back home, come back home,
to your islands, for I long to see you walk upon my sand. For my shores, they belong to my children, and my children belong to Grand Cayman. Come back home to your islands, for I long to see you walk upon my sand. For my shores, they belong to my children, and my children belong to Grand Cayman.
All right, folks, I see you guys guessing, and nobody has gotten it yet. I cannot believe. Hello, y'all need to do better. I see people talking about swanky. I see somebody talking about Cayman. What is it? A Sir Turtle, Cayman Airways. Good morning, caller. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Welcome back.
Thank you so much. Who are our guests this morning?
I don't know if she's married, but I think it's Melda McFeel.
No, I mean, she'll be on, but we need to think broader. Listen to the song that was played, but thank you for trying. All right, 9362626. The phone lines are open. What are we talking about this morning? Who are our guests? Come on, I just made you guys listen to that amazing song. Oh my gosh. Good morning, everybody. All right, you know what? I'm going to grab the winner from social media this morning. Let me see who came in first. Magdalene. Yes. So Jared said Swanky. Cayman Cultural Foundation. Stephen was close. CNCF puts on these events. However, Magdalene is right. It's the Cayman Folk Singers. So let's go ahead and bring them on. So good morning to Melanie McField from CNCF. How are you?
I'm good, Sandy. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, we've got Mrs. Zita Mae Bodden, who is one of the beautiful folk singers. Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Oh my gosh. When I played that song this morning, there's just something that folk music really does for me. It puts me like in a different mindset. You kind of start swaying to the music a little bit. You really feel it. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Is it the Cayman Folk Singers?
Yes, it is. And we did have a winner, but can we do another ticket as well, Mel?
Absolutely. And Sandy, remember, we do things in twos. So it's always the winner and a guest.
Sounds good. So caller, stay tuned for all the details on, let me just hold on one second. Let me jot down your number so I don't forget. But make sure you stay tuned for all the details and when you can go and listen to the folk singers this weekend, because this is going to be a real treat. But don't they sound beautiful? Like every time I hear them, I absolutely love to just sit back and listen. But thank you so much, caller.
Thank you.
And congratulations. Yes. Look at this. We're back and giving away stuff within minutes of being on air. I love it. So Miss Zita Mae, you are a folk singer. Tell us a little bit about how you got into folk singing, because I just love it.
Well, the folk singer started in 2009. And when I saw that it was advertised that they were going to have a folk singers group, I was like, all things Caymanian. Yes, I'm in. So I was one of the first to sign up and become a member of the Cayman Islands Folk Singers.
Wow. Awesome. I mean, I love it. So for those who are listening and they're not really sure what makes folk singing different from maybe other genres of music, can you tell us a little bit about what folk music is?
Folk singers, we bring to life those stories that people told. So it is within music, you know, the drum, the violin,
the grater,
the
shaker,
those things, you know, and we sing the songs, but we tell the stories that others have been telling, but we do it in song fashion.
Oh, wow. Yes. So basically sort of an oral tradition, oral storytelling, but through music.
Through music, exactly. Yes. And dance as well. Some movement as well. Got to get that movement in.
Of course. And of course, I mean, let's be honest here. You know, it's just amazing. Like I said, I always have a good time whenever I hear there's just something nostalgic about the music, about folk singing. And I think it's such an important part of our culture. Mel, tell us a little bit about why CNCF is so committed to Cayman culture first and foremost, and to putting
Well,
on events.
absolutely. And I just want to say congratulations to the folk singers for celebrating 14 years this year. And what better way to celebrate, other than a 2-night concert, which is being hosted by the Cayman National Cultural Foundation tomorrow night and Saturday night. And, for us, Sandy, and for the listening audience, it's CNCF's mission to preserve Cayman's musical traditions and to introduce authentic Caymanian folk songs and dance to new and younger generations. That's a big part of why this is so important, and to keep that pure and authentic folk music that Caymanians are, we're still getting the word out there, how incredibly, important that music is to us, and the beautiful sounds coming from persons such as Miss Zita Me.
Yes, absolutely.
It's all about sharing the Caymanian culture.
Yes, absolutely.
That is the forefront. Cayman has a rich culture and heritage, and we have to keep on showcasing it to keep it alive and well.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us the details then of the concert this weekend and what we can expect.
So the title of the concert is Under the Breadfruit Tree. And back to what Miss Zita Me said, that's exactly what, traditional Caymanians did back in the day. They told stories under the grape tree, under the breadfruit tree, whatever fruit tree you wanted to sit under, stories were told. So Under the Breadfruit Tree is basically a journey from Cayman to the region and back to Cayman. So we're doing authentic Caymanian folk music as well as regional songs from our neighboring Caribbean islands. And then we're coming back to Cayman. So that event again is tomorrow, Saturday the 28th and Sunday the 29th. The Saturday's event starts at 7 p.m. And the Sunday event starts at 6 p.m. Both are hosted at the Harkwell Theater. The tickets are very reasonably priced for adults, $25, for youth and senior, $15. And they're easily accessible on ticketplus.ky, or you can come to our offices next to the Harkwell Theater and purchase them right there at the CNCF office.
All right, wonderful. And I'm glad to see that CNCF is obviously putting on another event. You've just gotten done with What Happening, which was a total hit, sold out.
Absolutely.
I ran into Matt a couple days ago, and the feedback that I've been getting has just been phenomenal. So what sort of songs, Ms. Zita May, I'm sure you've got a whole lineup of songs for the concert. What sort of songs can we actually look forward to?
Okay, well, we have, all the very, very nice songs from Aunt Julia and other Caymanian people. We have Chip Up Potato, we have Muncie Boat. They're the ones that people usually sing along with. But we have like Cayman Moon by Mr. Dalmeen. We have
Cardiel Gone to Cuba.
Yeah, Cardiel Gone to Cuba. I mean, we have a full lineup. Our concert is going to be in sections, so you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it.
Exactly.
All right.
It's a musical journey that cannot be missed.
Yes. Okay. So how many people are actually in the folk singers group? It looks like a pretty sizable group.
We have roughly about 16 to 18, Ms. Zita May.
Yes, singers.
Yes.
And then we have about 4 musicians. So
yeah, we have some accompanying musicians for this concert too, Sandy, inclusive of our musical director, Mr. Noel Wallace. A big thank you to him for bringing the group to where they're at for this performance, as well as Randy Shillette, who's going to be on percussion, and Renard Powell as well. And we have some guest performances that are going to be on steel pan and the fiddle. So we have quite an interesting lineup. So it really is something to be, experienced.
All right. So again, folks, get your tickets early. Well, today is Friday. The event is tomorrow and Sunday.
Yes.
So final last push. Go ahead and grab your tickets. You can do so online. Just give us the website address again.
It's ticketplus.ky. ticketsplus.ky, and you can also get them at the CNCF office.
Which is right by the Hartwell.
Which is right. And you can give us a call on 949-5477 for more information, as well as please keep checking our social media. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, both at Cayman Culture. And we have updates constantly on all of our programming, but obviously specifically for this weekend's activities.
All right. So again, don't miss this amazing event, folks. Cayman Folk Singers. It's a concert, a 2-night concert this weekend, Saturday and Sunday evening. 7 p.m. for Saturday. Sunday is 6 p.m., a little bit earlier. So come out and enjoy. Thank you to Miss Zita May and all of the amazing folk singers who are putting on this production, all the musicians and everybody else that's part of it. Big shout out to the CNCF organization. Mel is over there, Miss Natalie and others who really appreciate all the amazing stuff that you guys do in the name of Cayman culture and preserving that for us. I think it's just so important and so amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. And let's everybody come down and enjoy Caymanian culture at its best.
Absolutely. And join in with some great folk singing as well.
Absolutely. And congratulations again to Magdalene. Miss Magdalene, just message me on WhatsApp with your phone number so I can make sure that Mel gets that. And to our other caller who called in as well, I sent Mel your number already. So she'll be in touch about how you can get your ticket for 2. Love it. Take it to your friend. All right. So on that note, thank you both. And we're going to listen to a little bit more of that music that's going to get your foot tapping and your hips swaying and your head kind of bopping a little bit. Here we go, folks.
Thank you.
Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound. When you talk about blue swab head all around. Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound. When you talk about blue swab head all around. Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound. When you talk about blue swab head all around. Lambert said to Bertie,
boy, give me a soldier head.
Bertie said to Lambert,
boy, all the squaws is dead.
Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound.
Muncie.
When you talk about blue swab head all around. Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound. When you talk about blue swab head all around.
Yes, folks. This is where it's at this morning. A little swaying of the hips. Hello. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Miss Olive is here. Listen to Miss Olive. She says, finally, my husband can get breakfast now because I'm going to wake up early. Oh, Miss Olive. Woo, your poor husband. But I know you feeds him good, so he can probably afford to skip breakfast. But that is so funny. You know, Miss Olive is like, I'm not waking up if Sandy's not on here. Your poor husband. Tell him I said hello. He recently celebrated a birthday. That is so funny. Alba, buenos dias. Alejandro, yes, I'm back, honey chill. Right here, live and direct. Good morning to Miss Barbara. We've got Miss Jackie. Says, now my mornings can get back to normal. Yay. Happy day. Happy weekend. Parky says, Olivia. What was that in answer to the question? Yasmin, good morning to you. Says, OMG, you are back. Miss you so much. Welcome back, darling. Thank you so much, Yasmin. Rough Seas was guessing someone from Cayman Airways. Not quite. Maybe there's somebody from Cayman Airways in the folk singers. I don't know. Gina, good morning. Gregory's in the house. Marshall is here. Jackie's saying, is that Mr. Dermot Scott in the trade? Oh, well, I mean, they take songs from, you know, people that have written songs and then they perform it. Bonnie was saying Wayne Panton. I wonder, does Wayne Panton sing? I don't know him to be a singer, but no, I don't think he's in the folk singers. That's for sure. Thank you, Miss Marjorie. Tara says you are the guest. No. That was a good guess though, but no. Miss Merle, good morning. Damaris is here, joining us from NYC. I'm going to tell you about my journey to my vacation spot because I had to go through New York. Nikisha, thank you so much. Johan, of course, causing trouble all the way in the back of the classroom. Good morning, Johan. Miss Bonnie, I did notice that the radio dropped and it just dropped again. So give me one quick second here. Let me tell Marlon that the connection is dropping. But you know what? Give me a quick second. I'm going to switch providers. Hold on. That's why we got to back up. I'm not going to tell y'all which one is dropping because I'm going to message them directly and say, hello, what's going on? Hold on one second. All right. So let me just, one second. Let me just switch from this one to this one. My goodness. What a hot mess. Let me come off this network. So disconnect. All right. I think now I should be back on the other one. And then, all right, let's keep an eye on it. Yeah. Okay. Marlon is like, disconnect the Wi-Fi. I'm like, okay, I just did. All right, let's keep an eye on it, folks. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chuck. Chuck is here as usual. Big shout out to Chuck, making sure everything's good. I'm Bobo. Mark, good morning. So let me know, folks, if it drops, because obviously you have to tell me that. Jackie watching from Newburgh, New York. Hello, Jackie. Miss Elaine is here. Shamika, thank you so much. Kimmy says, welcome back on the air. Hope that you had a good vacation. I did. And I'm going to tell you guys all about it. Johan, Miss Emma. Johan's asking for the comments. Anne says, shake it, Sandy. Miss Joy is here. Elsa is here. Listen, we got almost 350 people already. Y'all are like, Sandy, we missed you. And we're here for the SOS this morning. And boy, can I tell you, whoo, y'all could not behave while I was gone. What on earth? Someone says, I missed you, but to be honest, I missed our buddy Alejandro. Aw, Alejandro, did you hear that? People missed you too. Oh my goodness. I tell y'all, we like a crazy family, crazy classroom full of kids, but you know, good people, good people. All right, First Lady J.M. says, I'm so good today. Happy to see you. So glad or so good. Ms. Jennifer, thank you so much. Marina is here. Michelle Lee says, scream, you're back. Miss Marjorie, oh, you guys are just making me feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside. Oh my gosh, I missed you guys too. Listen, it was hard to not go live on vacation. So I did one little live snippet. And listen, I was like, oh my God, I could keep going more. In fact, I did it at the hotel. I don't know if you guys saw that because I was giving away tickets for Restaurant Month. By the way, a couple more days left in Restaurant Month. Go grab your tickets, folks. Your tickets. Just go to the restaurant. There are like over 50 restaurants participating. Amazing food. I'm going to try to catch one or two before it ends on the 31st. But listen, I went live and I was at the hotel. You guys got to see the mountains in the background, the pool. And a lot of you were guessing. I gave you a hint. I said, oh, I'm in the Mediterranean Sea. And y'all were still all over the place. Spain, France, you were all over in terms of where I was. But I think most of you now know, thank you, Jackie, that I was in Greece. So it was a group trip. It was interesting. I'm going to tell y'all a little bit about my trip. So the most interesting part of the trip, obviously for me, is the culture, the exploration. I absolutely love all of that stuff. But you know what is interesting is the food isn't quite what I thought it would be. Yeah, give me my Cayman food any day. However, I ate more salads than I can count. Like every single day, it was a salad. And I still don't know if I lost any weight. And I did more walking and more steps up and down hills and up and down steps than I ever have done in my entire life. But it was still good. All right. So listen, to get halfway around the world is not an easy feat, apparently. I'm still thinking, when can we just teleport somewhere? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be all in for that kind of a journey. Like, oh, I want to go to England. Beep, 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 beep. Teleport me and boom, I just show up in London in a couple of seconds. Man, this traveling. 2 days. Listen to how grueling the traveling was. 2 days worth of traveling, folks. back and forth, right? About 15 hours on a plane between multiple flights. So how we got there is we went from Grand Cayman, obviously, our island, to Miami, overlay for a couple hours, and then Miami to LaGuardia in New York. And then we drove to Newark Airport, and then we stayed that night in Miami. And the following night, basically 24 hours later, we didn't leave till almost midnight. And of course, the plane was delayed, so it was later than midnight. The next day, we got on a flight to go from Newark to Greece. And it's like a 10-hour flight. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do for 10 hours? Well, what I did was a lot of sleeping because, let me tell you about the jet lag. But anyway, we spent about a day, basically 24 hours in New York. I found an amazing mall called American Dream. I'm definitely going back. Those of you in the New Jersey area, I'm sure you've heard of this mall. It's right by the Met Stadium. I'm going back. I'm going to vacation there. It was like the mall of all malls. Like there's a water park in the mall. There is a Ferris wheel in the mall. I was like, this mall, 3 levels. It's amazing. It has like one of 3 Ferrari stores. I'm not really a car person like that, but I get those of you who love your Ferrari cars. It has like one of 3 Ferrari stores in all of America. I was like, this mall, I think there's one in Miami, New York, and I don't know where the other one is. So this was like super amazing. They had little modeled cars, like maybe this big, $15,000 for the model car. I'm like, are y'all crazy? That's a down payment for everybody else in a real car. So it was an experience. I'm definitely going to go back, and they have like, I'm going to show y'all some pictures later, but they have the little trolls. They have like a whole troll section. They have a garden. I mean, Gigi would love, oh my God, both her dad and I were like, this mall is for her. She is going to love this. So we're going to make it a little trip for her because yes, it's, y'all go look it up. Look up America Mall, and it's just American Dream is the name of the mall. And it is something to behold. Trust me. I was like, whoa. I took lots of pictures, of course. I was trying to organize my pictures last night. And in fact, let me tell you, I put everything from the Greece trip in a folder and a photo album for my phone. And I've got 907 photos. So like I said, let me see if I can share any of these with you. Hold on. It's a lot of photos. We did a lot. Let me just hold on. Let's do a screen share. Y'all know we back now, and I'm trying to remember how everything works. But here we go. Screen share. All right, I'm gonna share some of my iPhone photos with y'all. Here you go, honey chill. Ooh, okay. This store, this place is in. I think this is this is Miami International Airport. I always have a chuckle every single time I see this place because the name of it is Misha's Cupcakes. And you guys know Misha. She helps us out here on CMR. So every time I see this, I always send her, I'm like, look, Misha, it's your store. She spells her name Misha a little bit differently though. But there's Misha's Cupcakes. I discovered the world's best bagel. Y'all know I'm a foodie. And I discovered the world's best bagel at Einstein Bagels. Where? In the airport. Yeah. What were the chances? I don't know. But it is called an all-nighter. And I figured, since I'm practically going to be pulling an all-nighter, maybe I'll have an all-nighter bagel. Ooh, honey, child, that bagel was so good. It had like egg, and I think it had bacon in it. I can't even remember. But it is delicious. One of the best things I had in my whole trip was a bagel in the airport. And then, I always chuckle when I see things that are a little bit different. We live in a bit of a bubble. And the thing I love about traveling is it exposes you to so much. So check out this. They have a vending machine in the airport called a pharmacy box. And basically you've got all your pills in here, headache tablets, allergy, upset stomach, like everything that you can imagine. This is by CVS. And you just put your little money in there, probably swipe your card, and you can get your tablets out of a vending machine. I'm just like, what are they going to think of next? So this now is the flight. I think this was coming into, this is Cherry Hill up at the top here. You know, iPhones are so smart; they tell you exactly where you is. So I think this was coming into New York, LaGuardia. So listen, I got on the plane. This is the airport. They had this amazing waterfall. Look at this. Look at that. I loved it. Right? So gorgeous. But listen, when I got on the plane, I saw my celebrity crush. Oh God, this thing is disconnected again. Thank you, Cassandra. I see it. Hold on a second now. Let me tell Marlon it's still doing it. Oh boy. Yikes. All right. That's good. That's above my pay grade, folks. I'll keep an eye on it. But that's definitely Marlon's gonna have to see what's going on with the dropping out. Let me let Chet know. Still dropping. Huh. What was it last time it was doing this? All right. Let's see if we can figure that out because that's uber annoying. But yeah, look at this amazing waterfall in the airport. Isn't that beautiful? It like does this whole little design thing. It's amazing. So listen, I saw my celebrity crush, one of my celebrity crushes at the airport. Now listen to this. I get on the plane going from Miami now to LaGuardia. And I'm minding my own business. First of all, big shout out to Cayman Airways. We were traveling in American. Every time I travel in American, or any other plane for that matter, I am reminded of how grateful I am to be traveling in Cayman Airways. Cayman Airways has more leg room. They have us so spoiled. Leg room. You can kind of stretch your legs a little bit. The seats are just that little bit more comfortable. You're not squished up towards each other. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Cayman Airways. I love you. American, I don't love you. I just travel you because I don't have a choice. Right. The other thing that occurred to me when you're traveling, remember how we're supposed to be trying to lose 50 pounds? We're going to really work on it here shortly. I'm drinking lots of water today. I'm going to tell you all about my life here in a second. So, listen, I am shocked and appalled that the fatter we get, and it's a thing, especially when you hit middle age, and then you have to do things like travel, and you next to another person who's just as chunky as you, you know, it doesn't make for a comfortable flight experience. We all need to lose some weight, child. Get on it, because I was sitting there going, oh God, stop hogging my the armrest. You know, there's like anyway. So yes, it reminded me of how difficult it is to yes, ma'am, you're live on air.
What happened to your radio?
It should be back. It keeps dropping.
No, not. People were texting and telling you where you were in the message.
I think Chuck should be checking it for me. All right. All right. Well, it says I'm live, so.
No. But it's got the second time when you change the provider, you come on back.
Okay, ma'am.
All right.
A whole conversation. Chuck says, no, I got dead air from your side. You're super, super quiet though. Okay. Hey, Chuck.
Hey, I can barely hear you on this side. Sorry to call you live on the air.
All right, let me see what's. Literally. Was it okay before and now it's.
Yeah, it was okay before you dropped. Now it came up and everything is just super, super quiet. And I kicked in my backup. Hold on.
All right, hold on. Hold on one second here now. Oh gosh, I totally haven't done anything different. So let me just have a look. When I refreshed, I'm wondering if that somehow did something.
Your volume, I can hear you, but you're so quiet that our system isn't picking it up.
All right, so let me just have a quick look here.
So it thinks that you're dead air, and I'm sorry, everybody is learning the secrets of radio. Our system, when it doesn't detect the sound wave, it kicks in a backup. Backup is to make sure that we always have something playing. As a case of a hurricane or something, we put our emergency news or whatever, so that even if we're off the air, you get some sort of information. So that's
Tell me if that's any better. Can you hear me? I just changed. I made one quick change there. Let me know if that's any better.
Okay, there we go.
That sounds better to you?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right. Let's keep it on that particular one and see what happens.
And you can hear the echo because
Yes.
we're loud in the studio.
All right. Thank you, Chuck. Of course, it just dropped again, I noticed. So we're having, I don't know if the internet dropping is on my end or your end, but.
Well, it got to be on your end because
yeah.
I don't have anything here.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that I can talk to you, okay, just came back now.
Yeah, I've just clicked it back. All right, let me wake up Marlon. See if he can do anything in real time.
All right.
All right, thank you so much. I'm trying to remember what happened last time that this was happening. Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I can't recall if it was something on the modem side or. So that means it's going to keep dropping throughout the show. Oh, what an annoyance. All right. We're going to keep the show moving. Log on to the live stream, I guess, because radio might be a bit spotty today. Sir, we keep dropping like last time. What was the solution the last time this happened? Both networks? It was something you had to do? I can't remember, but can you have a look at it, please? Well, my listeners can't hear me in radio because I keep dropping out every couple minutes. Okay, bye-bye. He's like, now? I'm like, all right, back to the trip details. Okay. So I get an American going from Miami now to LaGuardia, and I'm walking down the aisle. You know, you kind of look at people. You don't expect to really see anybody in these flights that you know. I saw two people that I knew. Okay. This was so random and so weird. So the first person was a celebrity from Bravo. I actually ran in to, oh God, what's her name? I can't remember her name now. Bethany Frankel from Housewives of New York. I was like, oh, it's Bethany. And you know, when you see a celebrity, like you kind of get caught off guard a little bit. You don't know how to react. And I was like, oh, it's you. And then I was like, okay, I'll just like leave you alone. Cause you think, you know, these people, she's just on a plane. She's actually on the phone. You know, I'm like, give her privacy. And she was like, thank you. And I was like, oh my God, I could still be like, it's Bethany. And everybody in the plane would have been like, who the hell is Bethany? Anyway, Bethany, I love you. I used to watch you all the time when I watched Housewives of New York. I don't really have time for TV anymore, but anywho, yes, I wish I had gotten a photo though. I should have asked for a photo, right? And then couple seats behind her is one of my clients. I was like, what are you doing on here? He's like, what are you doing? I had literally just spoken to him a couple days before and said, hey, he lives in New York, but I'm like, when are you going to be in Cayman? Blah, 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 blah. He's like, yeah, you know, I'm traveling for business right now, but I'm hoping to come like next month. I could not believe that just, what are the chances of all the thousands of flights every single day, of all the multiple flights going in and out of New York and Miami and LaGuardia, that I happened to run into someone that I just spoke to a few days ago, one of my clients, and that I actually know. It is just the most bizarre thing. Like you realize how small the world is all at the same time. Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's get back to some vacation pictures. So yes, folks, I did go to Greece. So we went from Miami to New York. That's like a 3-hour flight. Then, by the way, again, shout out to Cayman Airways. Cayman Airways, y'all do well with the clouds and the, you know, what's it called? Oh God, what is it that you run into with the clouds sometimes? Where it shakes up the plane. What's it called? You guys know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, man, we had turbulence. We had some serious turbulence coming back from Greece on Emirates for about 30 minutes. And they just fed us. By the way, shout out to Emirates. Their food was good. I mean, I'm not expecting a whole lot on an airplane, but the food was good. They fed us twice during this 10-hour journey, and they had just given us our first meal coming back, and then we had some serious turbulence. And my stomach, they had to give me something to calm my stomach. I felt like motion sickness. I was like, oh my God, I can't take this. I'm like, whew, Cayman Airways pilots, yes, they are the best. Oh, I love you guys so much. You really appreciate things when you travel, trust me. You appreciate what you have. So anywho, like a 10-hour flight to, from New York to Athens. Going, I slept a lot. I just tried to sleep. And I was sitting right next to one Haitian guy and his wife. I was on the aisle and he's like hogging the arm rail. And I was like, dude, give me a little bit of room here. They didn't seat us together. So unfortunately, Marlon was like behind me. Thankfully, coming back, we were able to sit together. But yes, Irvlyn, we had some air pockets and turbulence. And I was like, oh my God. Here is the American Dream mall that I'm telling you guys about. So they have this Ferris wheel in the mall. These are some of the mall photos. This mall they have like artwork on the wall. It was amazing. It recently opened, I think. But it is amazing. Y'all need to go to New York and check out this mall. It is a sight. Look at this. This is a wall just walking the hallway of the mall. Isn't that the cutest little thing? Absolutely amazing. So I had a fantastic time in Greece. Look at this is all the mall decorations. Isn't it beautiful? I don't know who designed this mall, but I'm like, they had a very different idea. And you know what? There it drops again. It works. Like, I don't know. It works for them all. Like it's, somebody else says, I love Bethany. Take me with you next time. I know it was so good. So, yeah, these are more mall photos. We had a great time. The mall. Oh yes. This was hold on. This was the Ferrari store. So this is all the Ferrari stuff that they had. This is like a Ferrari engine. I didn't even want to ask the price of the engine. I'm like, if this little model car is $15,000, I don't want to know what the engine cost. Okay. I'm like, okay. But it was listen, it's a high-end mall. So of course, they've got all the beautiful Louis Vuitton stores. They've got Hermes. They've got all the stuff that we can't afford, but we just love to look at it. They actually had gaming stations, like this little gaming area in the mall. So you could play the old Pac-Man game. We were like, what? Like retro games? I love it. I actually want one of these retro machines. So we did that. Let me just see what else. There's the trolls. So they had like the little trolls. And I mean, the mall is like, if you've got kids of a particular age and they love these characters, they love the trolls. Here's the water park. They can actually go. There's a full water park in the mall. Take them in their bathing suits and everything. Here's an arcade, Fast and Furious. I tried doing this. Of course, y'all know I'm not the best Fast and Furious driver. Kept crashing. But it was fun. And yeah, it was good. The mall is definitely an experience. There's another picture of the trolls. And then they had a garden. These are more model cars. This is the Lego store. By the way, this is a Lego model. This is a car made of all Lego parts. I am just like, wow. I don't know who did that. And speaking of food, Mrs. Fields Cookies, which we used to have a lot in Miami, but you can hardly find them anymore, has the best chocolate chip cookies ever. So I had to indulge in one of those. Delicious. Haven't had one in years. This was, the mall was actually having a job fair. So they had a little DJ guy set up in the mall. Listen to him. Yeah. And they had people encouraging people to get out there and get a job. This was the garden area. So they have it set up now for like a, Halloween, not Halloween theme, but I guess fall theme with all the pumpkins and sunflowers and just absolutely gorgeous. Really, really beautiful. And then, of course, like I said, more stores, more shopping. I took this one for Kevin because this was a store that I think he would really appreciate. So here we are getting an Emirates. I love their uniforms. Beautiful. And yeah, 10 hours later, we would have been arriving in Greece. Now, on the plane, the little plane entertainment center, they actually show you, and it was interesting to see the path that we took to actually get there. So it shows you like, okay, you're now crossing the Atlantic Ocean, and we're gonna go across Belfast and London and da da da. And so yeah, that was very, very interesting to kind of see the journey. There's the food. I forget what they gave us going, but it wasn't too bad. You get a little piece of bread and some fresh fruits. This was breakfast. So they fed us twice. I can't remember. Oh, me looking at shoes. I can't remember what the first meal was. But anyway, here's Greece. This was what I ate every single day in Greece, a salad. Lots and lots of salads. It is a beautiful country, lots of gorgeous mountains. This is the hotel with the mountains and stuff in the background. We did a lot of walking, like we did daily excursions all over the place. All I can tell you is I got enough steps in to last me a while. And I'm gonna keep it up though. I'm gonna keep stepping. So, they have an amazing history of everything about their belief from thousands of years ago in the Greek gods, and they talk about the cultural influences of other countries. There are other countries that occupied Greece during their history. Athens was super, super interesting. So this is actually, I think this is the museum. I'm trying to remember if this is the museum, but when they started building this relatively modern museum in Athens, they actually discovered that as they were digging it, there was ruins underneath, like thousands of years old, right underneath the museum. So they decided to preserve that, obviously, and they actually have it dug out. And I'll show you some pictures a little bit later on in the trip, because when we went back to the museum, they actually have like a lot of the museum floors made of glass, so that you can walk right over the ruins and you can just see beneath a city that's like, 4,000 years old or whatever. It's just so incredibly amazing. So lots of churches and, sort of older structures. But here's the Colosseums. We toured, I think, at least two of those. We went to Olympia, where the Olympic Games were held. It was just amazing to see this history that predates so much of what we know. And our tour guide was amazing. She was just very, very talented. So here we are at Acropolis. Big shout out to her. And every morning, the only Greek word I can remember, because she said it to us like literally every single morning, is kalimera. Oh, gone again. Hold on, Chuck. I'll keep trying to reconnect. He says, I'm just going to have to turn you off. Aw. So radio folks, join us on social media. Unfortunately, I'm so sorry. This is just horrible. I don't know what's going on with radio. Yeah, I keep turning it off and on, Chuck. I realize when it drops. Okay. We can keep doing that. I don't know, but that's like every couple minutes. Yikes. All right. Let me try and get in as much as I can for the radio folks. But radio folks, you can join us on Facebook or YouTube as well. So, yes. So lots of, tours. So the greeting for good morning in Greece is kalimera. So that's the word. Every morning she'd get on the bus, she said kalimera, and we'd be like kalimera. So that's good morning in Greece. So this is like their oil. We saw their oil refinery. They're kind of like where they get, their gas and stuff from. It was just interesting. This is through the bus window. So we did a lot of touring. Oh my gosh. This was Argos in this different municipality. It's just, we were all over Greece, all over the place. It's just amazing to really watch and see the history. And you know what occurred to me as she was telling us all about the Greek gods and what they believed in and what the people did, and we went to a number of different museums, is I realized that Christianity, now I know 99.9% of us grew up in the Christian faith, and that's what we believe. We believe it just because we grew up in it, and that's what we were exposed to. And we don't know anything else. But do you know how much of Christianity actually borrowed from the Greek what we call Greek mythology in their belief system? Even the tithing. You know how we talk about, give to the churches 10%? Well, the Greeks believed in giving 1/10 of your earnings to the gods. And I chuckled to myself. I said, wonder where we got that belief from. So the things that we believe are intertwined with so many different things, including what the Greeks believed, which is so interesting because most Christians today would discount, like, oh no, we can't believe in multiple gods. We can't believe in that. We can't believe in this. I'm like, well, when you recognize, in fact, that a lot of it was borrowed from them, maybe you should reconsider your position. This was pottery making. So we stopped at this one place where we saw how this 3,000-4,000 year tradition, how they still make it the exact same way. We went to the, this is like a olive oil sort of plantation. That was pretty cool. And the lady there was super nice, and she showed us the process of making olive oil. We learned a lot about olive oil, the do's and don'ts. And here's like the processing equipment. It was just super interesting. It's a bucket list place that I have always wanted to go. And so I'm glad that I did it. And, I got to appreciate and see a lot of the culture and stuff that they have there. But the one thing I must say, Greek food just isn't for me. I would not weigh very much if I had to rely on the food there. I mean, there's only so many Greek salads you can really have. And having a Greek salad every single day of my life isn't really my idea of a whole lot of fun. I missed like real seasoning and food. And so I don't know. The best food that I had in Greece was at an Italian restaurant. Although the chefs were Greek people, which I thought was kind of interesting, I must admit that the cuisine left me feeling hungry. I was like, oh, I need some flavor. They seem to like a lot of lamb. And there was always lamb at the hotel. So we stayed at a couple different places. We were in a little place called Canetta, and we stayed at a resort there. And then eventually we went on to Santorini for a couple days, and we spent a couple days there as well. So much stuff has been recovered from, historical and archaeological digs. And I want to talk about some of this because this is very, very interesting. By the way, this is the museum now, and how when they started building this museum, right underneath it, they found an ancient city. And so they preserved the ancient city by actually, allowing you to walk on glass like throughout a lot of it. So you can see the ancient city underneath. Super, super cool. There was one temple area, I think that was at Olympus or something, where she was showing us the structure of the wall that was built. And she was showing us how the Christians who came 1,000 years later actually built on top of, I don't know if I can find it here. I think I posted it on Facebook anyway, but they built on top of the ruins of the Greeks because they either did two things. I think this is so indicative of religions around the world. They're trying to propagate their belief system, right? So when the Christians came along, they wanted you to forget about multiple deities. That's not for real. Don't believe any of that. Don't believe anything that they've told you. We've got the new version, right? And you got to get on board with it. So one thing that they did is they tried to destroy history, because this is fascinating. But if you don't know your history, anybody can come and tell you anything. You're going to believe it. You're like, yeah, that sounds good. We believe that. So they destroyed the history. Forget about, Zeus and Hercules and Athena and all these Greek gods. Forget about that. That isn't real. We're here now to teach you the new gospel. And so anything that they found in terms of like artifacts or whatever, they destroyed this, which is like, so they would destroy it. And sometimes they didn't fully destroy it. as in the case of, I can't find the building right now, but they actually built on top of it. So she was showing us like the bottom was like 4,000 years old, and then you can saw distinctly the different architectural styles because they had like marble and whatever back in the Greek times, and then all of a sudden you saw this other material, and she's like, "This is the Christians who came 1,000 years later and built on top of what the Greeks had done to really send a message like." Forget them. We're either going to destroy everything, kill out their belief system, or just build on top of what it was that they had here as a structure. So I found that so interesting just from the perspective of being interested in people, in human beings. I thought, that's very, very interesting. So we went to a lot of different little cities. Here's a little church that is in, this is the Church of Virgin Mary. There in Athens. So a beautiful church. There was another church that we went to. I don't know if I can find. Oh my God. This is the food that I had that was so good. Best tiramisu in my entire life right here. I could eat some of that right now. This was an Italian restaurant that I was telling you guys about. And then this is us going on the route now to Santorini. The Greek islands, I think there's something like, did she say there was like over 30 something islands? But a lot of them are just like this little piece here that's shooting out of the water. They're not really inhabitable or anything like that. But it was interesting. It made me love and appreciate Cayman even more. I don't know. This is where we stayed in Santorini. So I don't know how you guys, when you travel, kind of what you travel for and what you look for. Yeah, these things are beautiful and scenic. But I love Cayman. And for me, traveling makes me appreciate so many things about our amazing and beautiful island. We're such a small place, and yet we have so many, modern conveniences. We have, reliability of services beyond anything that you can imagine. Our roads are well taken care of. It's just fascinating for me to always compare. This was a church, by the way, that we went into in Santorini. Absolutely interesting. The adorning of everything in the church, all of this, I forget how old this structure is that was built in the wall of the church, but it's beautiful and it's interesting. And I take it from like an art perspective. Like I always think culturally and artistically, these things are so amazing. We went to wine museum. Obviously, you guys know I don't drink wine, but it was still interesting to tour the museum. I got ideas about how Cayman could have more interactive cultural experiences based on what I saw happening there. This was a museum that didn't have a tour guide, so you kind of just walk through it. But one of the things that I saw a lot of in Greece, including our group, is that they had professional tour guides, like people who were professionally trained to give these tours. And I mean, like I said, our tour guide, that's what she does for a living. That's her full-time job. And it was amazing. She knew so much. I was like, how do you keep all this information in your head? But she knew a lot. And so it certainly gave me ideas on how we could improve our product and improve training for, those who are interested in the industry and who want to go out giving tours and that sort of thing. So by and large, it was a fantastic trip. The food, I was not impressed with at all. But I think if you're into culture, you want to see something different, you want to see these amazing scenes, then yes, it is worth going. It is a bucket list item for me. Now a location. So now I can take it off of my bucket list. And it was all good. Now, when people travel, you also get a sense of what it's like. Yeah. Hold on one second. All right. So right. Okay. Sorry, I'm just messaging. So, what was I saying? I can't remember now. Anyway. Oh yes, travel. When people travel, people are different. Mhm. Yes. So people are very, very different travelers. And you don't like to make generalizations. However, we ran into a lot of Chinese travel groups. And let me just say, they can be very rude. And not only that, but there's this whole thing like everybody wants to take a picture. Like, you want to take a picture in front of the blue domes, and everybody wants to capture these sort of moments, if you will. You guys saw my photos I did like a little photo shoot while I was there, and the nice flowing dress. And that's like one of the things that people love to do when they go to Greece. And so I took the opportunity to plan ahead, and I scheduled that, and I had it done. And now I've got these amazing and beautiful pictures that were like super fun. And, so what the Chinese people do is they go and they stand in a location. And let me show you one of my pictures. And trust me, they're there for like 10 minutes trying to do a whole photo shoot. I'm like, listen, this isn't the location. Like, here's the thing. You get in and out. You take your picture real quick, your selfie, with your friends or whatever, and you just keep it moving. There is no need for you to be standing up there 10 minutes later, still trying to take a photo because there's a line of people behind you. And so they were all lined up. There was one city that we were in Santorini. We were going down some steps. It was actually technically a roadway, like a path to people's homes and whatever. And they were blocking the path so that they could get this really idyllic photo. And at one point I had to say to them, excuse me, in my best Caribbean voice, can you kindly move? Get out of the way. You're blocking the road. And you have to be conscientious of other people. You can't hog this space for 10 minutes just for one person and your little friends and all these different poses. Ooh, take a picture of me, pose this way. And take a picture of me posing that. I was like, if you want a professional photo shoot, there are areas for that. This isn't it. Anyway, honey, chill. I had to bat up some Chinese people while I was there. Anywho, all in all, it was a fantastic trip. Big shout out to the organizers who put it on. I think it was great. Like I said, the food left me going, whatever. So it is what it is. Now I'm back and I'm going to be eating all kind of good stuff as part of restaurant week. All right. So, Magnum says, was your tour guide from Greece? Yes. In fact, one of the interesting things that I learned, which again, you learn things, that's why you travel, to expose yourself, is that on the island of Santorini, for about 8 or 9 months is their tourism season. And then after that, the island goes dead. There's only about 20,000 people that live there. And so a lot of the workers, like the tourist workers that you see there, they're brought in from Athens. They live in Athens, and our tour guide lived in Athens. But while she was doing the tour, she actually stayed at the hotel that we stayed at in Creta. So in the morning, she got up early, and we were there with the bus driver, and everybody got on the tour bus. So she stayed with us for like the week. And I thought, that's interesting. Now, obviously, Cayman isn't that big. We wouldn't need to do that. But because of the size, it's like 3 hours to go to this site, 3 hours to go, she doesn't have to get up every morning and drive an hour and a half to be able to get to the hotel to then drive another 3 hours to take us on our tour. So she actually stayed at the venue with us. And so when we went to the island of Santorini, we realized that a lot of the people who work on Santorini, we were asking them questions about Santorini. They didn't necessarily know because they're not from Santorini. They're actually from Athens. And so they were like, oh, I don't know that. And you're like, okay. And so they come in for whatever the high season is, and they work and they earn all their money. And then the remaining 3-4 months of the year, they return to Athens, and I don't know what they do. One person said that he actually takes that time to then travel. So, yeah. All right. So let's move on. Great trip. Almost 2 weeks off. I came back and had to hit the ground running because I've got a massive project that I'm trying to get off the ground. Fingers crossed. Still working on a lot of that. And I'm drinking a lot of water today because I need to take a test this morning. I need to be hydrated. All right. Johan is being ridiculous as usual, but he's in a roundabout way saying, Sandy, let's move on to this drama with Bernie Bush. Sandy says, please accept this message as notice that if Auntie Sandy cusses me out again live and direct on CMR, I'll be seeking $750,000 for pain and suffering, the trauma I cause when I now feel it appropriate to cuss out people for no good reason. All right, folks, let's talk about it. Y'all know I was paying attention. Yes, I was aware of what was happening. Now, I need to give y'all the backstory, okay? I actually knew about this situation from June. Let me grab the letter. 1 second now. 1 second. Hold on. Let me grab my letter. As they say, it was left on the windshield. This is the virtual windshield now, folks. So yes, honey child. So I heard about the situation back in June. And I spoke to the complainant. And, of course, we were ready to pull the trigger on the story. And the complainant actually requested that we not do so because her lawyers were in talks with, and I don't know what they were talking about, but they were in talks with whoever. And I said, okay. We, especially when it comes to anything to do with a potential, sexual harassment complaint or anything of that sort, we try to be very, very gracious, and considerate of the complainant, right? So listen, folks, I've got a 3-page letter in my hands that the complainant actually wrote, okay? One of the first questions I ask when people come to me and they make an allegation, I've been assaulted, I've been beaten up, this has happened to me, blah, 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 blah. I say, did you report it to the police? This is important because if you're going to take someone seriously, like, listen, if you assault me, if you damage my property, if you do anything like that, you better believe I'm going to go through the legal route. I'm going to file a police report, and I'm going to hope that the police actually do their jobs and do something about it. I was told, yes, the police have been contacted. And, the more I reflect on this situation and this complaint against Bernie Bush, the more I saw a shifting of versions of the story of what actually happened. So initially back in late June, I was told, yes, the police had been contacted. Now, there's a difference between contacting the police and actually filing a formal complaint. There actually is a difference, right? So I said, right, well, if the police have been contacted, then they have a police report. I emailed the RCIPS. And they came back and said, I said, are you guys investigating any complaints against a sitting MP, blah, blah, blah. They said, no, they basically know nothing about it. I said, what? That's bizarre and weird. Why wouldn't they know anything about it? Like, if you've contacted the police, like, they're going to take this stuff seriously, right? Anywho, I'm just pulling up my messages. I want to refresh my memory on the chain of events here. And so I went back to the person. I said, this is weird because the police are saying that they don't have a complaint. They don't know anything about it. Basically, what came back was, my lawyer's dealing with it. Let my lawyer deal with it. Okay. So I left it alone. Then it reared its head a couple weeks ago again. And I said, this is starting to make the rounds. Wagwan. What's going on here? What is this? Where is it with your lawyer? What's your lawyer doing? They're dealing with it. Okay. Let me give you all my assessment. And I do have this letter in my hand. I'm going to share some of the details of this letter with you because this is a 3-page letter about what transpired. Okay. First of all, let us just get to the nuts of the situation quite literally, okay? You have got to, MPs, every single one of you. Chuck, I'm going to monitor it and I will do my best to quickly come back on. So that are, because I know our radio listeners in particular want to hear this. It's happening every 5 minutes like it did last time. After the show, we'll try to get it sorted out. So I think Marlon has to look at some logs and stuff. But I want our radio listeners to really have the benefit of getting this breakdown. So I'll keep monitoring it, Chuck, and I'll keep quickly connecting as quickly as I can. So listen, I have talked to this bunch of MPs before. Remember when they first got in, there was a BRAC trip and there was some complaint about, behavior on this BRAC trip. There are MPs who, let me tell you something. The behavior that they engage in on a regular basis, and we've seen this rear its head with Chris Saunders in a formal way, because civil servants were formally complaining about his behavior, him trying to, sexually harass them, sexually harassing them at work and all this stuff. Can I just send out this memo? I've talked about it several times before. We are now in 2023. A lot of you have done stuff in your lives. There are allegations of sexual abuse against some of you, of straight out rape over the years, right? Inappropriate conversations. A lot of you are cheating on your wives, and I know it. The wife should know it too, but I definitely know it. You are very, very bold in your behavior. Given that we live in 2023, the year of the hashtag Me Too movement continues. I am shocked at, quite frankly, how stupid a lot of you all are. That you would engage in this kind of behavior and not think that it's going to come back to bite you in the rear end. What is wrong with you? Right? You're so used to being so like lowball and, you can say anything kind of thing. Really? You cannot do, if you thought you could do it before, you can no longer do it. Stop it. Don't bite women when you go to the Ritz, right? Don't assault women at other venues. Don't pull their hair. Don't punch them. Don't say anything out of the way to nobody. There's a saying that if you don't want your granny to hear you say something or do something, like use that as your litmus test. Like, I'm about to say this. Would my grandmother approve of this? Could I say that in front of Granny and she would be okay with it? Because if your answer is going to be no, then simply do not say it. Do not do it. Yeah? It's as simple as that. Now, Bernie Bush and the complainant have a relationship. They're both West Bears, and I understand that they're friendly, and this is, the kind of banter that in the past he would have been able to say to her. Two mistakes you made, Bernie Bush. Number one, don't say it, not at all. Number two, why are you saying it in the workplace? Okay? If somebody is at work, you do not say any kind of, don't make sexual jokes. Don't make inappropriate jokes about your parts. Just don't do it. Alejandro says, leave the woman them alone. Yes. I don't know why y'all always, your little brain, it's like you're thinking with the wrong head. Your brain is always in the gutter and you think these little jokes are funny. It might be funny to you. It may be in a different setting, like in a bar or something. I don't know. After somebody's had a few drinks, they might have thought it was funny. I do not know. What I do know is when you're in a professional environment in an office, I don't want to hear anything about your man parts. Okay? And the sad thing is, I've told you guys before, this isn't the first time that this has happened. We had another, he's not even an MP, wannabe MP. He was running for one of the outer districts. He actually showed up to a job interview over at the Compass, trying to get the co-hosting job for their talk show before they axed it. And what was he doing? Talking about how well endowed he is, as though that was a requirement to be a talk show host over at Rooster. And he said it to, an American woman. She didn't appreciate it. She considered it sexual harassment. Now, in her case, she actually did go to the police and filed a police report. And the police were like, okay, it's offensive. It's sexual harassment. But guess what? There's actually no law against sexually harassing anybody yet. And this is one of the reasons that we keep pushing this government. Premier Panton, please tell us when this is going to come into force. So every 5 minutes, this connection is dropping. So Chuck, I'm keeping an eye on it and I'm reconnecting, right? So it is egregious and disgusting for us to hear these stories. She was so offended that she filed a police report. That's what you do when you're truly offended. You file a police report. When you lawyer up and ask for $770,000, $750,000, my apologies, in compensation, people then start to question what your real motives are. Now, two things are going to happen if you approach me with your foolishness. I'm going to take my leg and I'm going to extend it, flex knee, and I'm going to kick you in your nuts. That's one possibility. Verbally, I'm going to tell you something that you're not going to like. That's the other possibility. And the third possibility, depending on how egregious it is, because if you touch me, we can have a problem, that might actually involve getting the police involved. Yes? Okay. The police weren't able to do anything about this woman. And trust me, that comment that budding MP made to her was far more egregious than what I'm hearing that Bernie Bush said, right? So the allegation against Bernie is that he was making a comment, and we're going to read it here in the letter, and he made a self-defacing joke, I guess, about how small his man parts are. Bernie, we don't care. Okay? Let us be very, very clear. We don't care about the size of your man parts. You are a minister in government, for God's sake. Be professional at all times, right? Wear your professional hat. People are watching you. People are judging you. You're a representative of the people. Now, does that warrant a lawsuit of $750,000? No. Straight up. This is the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a minute. So this letter was penned by the complainant, and then it was in wide circulation. My understanding is, despite the fact that we were ready to pull the trigger on this story from way back in June, she was sharing this with multiple people, creating a certain narrative, and I'm not here to question her narrative, but I'm here to tell you that people heard multiple versions of this story, and they started to question how much of it was really true versus how much of it was actually trying to get $750,000 out of Wayne Panton. I don't know where y'all think Wayne Panton got $750 stashed away, but anywho, if y'all know where the stash is, talk to me, okay? So when you start handing out, listen, if you're truly distressed about a situation, first of all, I would be so embarrassed. Like, I don't think I'd be going around telling every Tom, Dick, and Harry about it, right? You're saying that you need therapy. You're in therapy. The thing that was said to me is that he has to pay for my therapy. Well, I know the cost of living in Cayman is uber high. Yes, drink your apple cider to that. Mm-hmm. However, the last time I checked, there's no therapy sessions in Cayman that's going to run you almost $1 million. I don't know what kind of gold star therapists these are. So having someone pay for your therapy session might be if you really were traumatized by it, might be a fair request. But when you start saying that you need $750,000, I'm not so sure about that part of the situation. When other people also say that you've had a relationship with Bernie Bush, the two of you, you have this banter and he's joked like this. Listen, let me say this because I've said it before, right? We all go through transitions in life, right? When you were in your 20s, you might have been a roving, out in these streets, doing the most with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Lucy, and Diane, and Samantha, okay? Getting your freaky on. And then you hit a particular age, and you want to change your life. There's nothing wrong with that because y'all know in the Christian faith, we believe people can change, honey child. But one interesting observation that I have made is that people who are at the one spectrum of things, like in other words, they were the biggest blah, blah, blah out in these streets, they turn around and want to be the biggest Christians you ever saw. I think it's human nature. We're coming up in 5 minutes again, Chuck. I'm going to restart. I think a little bit of it is human nature. Like you're trying to overcompensate for all that you feel like you've done. I guess this is your penance now, is to try to be like you're going to put up Bible verses on social media every single day. You go from one extreme to the next. Mm-hmm. Now, it does make me uncomfortable when people feel the necessity to do that because I don't think it's necessary, right? Your belief system, your belief in God, your belief in redemption, that's between you and God. Yeah, you can be redeemed. It's not whatever. Like, you don't have to be like every little thing, like, oh my God, let's pray about, oh my gosh, a mosquito hit me in my face. Okay, let's pray about it. We're gonna ask the Lord now to please heal this wound. Lord, dear God. Yeah, it's almost to that level of ridiculousness, right? That you have to prove to people that you're so reformed. Child, just reform yourself and live your best life. Okay? I don't care to have the constant, like, in your face, like, over exaggeration of your belief system, just because you feel like, oh my gosh, I've been out there doing the most and now I have to do a complete 360. Maybe not. But if you change, the other interesting thing about it is when you've changed, I kind of think that people might not recognize that you have changed. This is a bit of a quandary, don't you think? 9362626. Anybody who has changed and you become, an overnight Christian. Some of my family members could feel free to call in this morning as well, because I've seen it within my own family, sister. Feel free to call in, because now you're overcompensating for being this horrible person your entire life. But some people don't see the change yet. It takes a while for this change to fully be realized. And so if you had a particular relationship with someone, here's an example. Say you had a little boyfriend on the side, right? And the two of you, whatever. Now that you jump up one day, get baptized, you're a big time Christian, he might still be trying to make the moves on you. The truth of the matter is you got to put the brakes on that person. Say, listen, I'm a changed person now, or I'm trying to be a changed person. I have a different lifestyle. I have a different, I'm trying something different now. I'm all about the God. I'm on the God train. Don't say those things to me. I think it is fair for you to give a person a warning shot, don't you? So if you and Bernie Bush were friends prior to this, and you would think this joke was funny before you became a Christian, or before you changed, or before you whatever, don't you think you should say to him, please don't talk to me like that anymore? You're friends, right? And if your friend who has known you for donkey years is used to conversing with you in a particular way, and you no longer want that type of a conversation with them, just tell them, don't talk to me like that anymore. I've done that. We can no longer have these types of conversations. It's no longer appropriate. Ain't nothing wrong with it. All right, dear sir/madam. By the way, I'm going to have to call Juliana O'Connor Connolly out this morning. I know she's going to be upset and she's not going to like it, but Miss Julie, I do question what you be doing half the time. You claim that you're going to retire after this election. I don't know why you're lying to the people of the Cayman Islands first and foremost, because I can say with 100% certainty that you planning on going nowhere. Y'all, you and McKeever Bush need to stop lying to the people about, oh, this is it. This is your last term. You're retiring, blah, blah, blah. Because, folks, that is a bold-faced lie. And y'all know how I feel about liars now. Okay, I'm going to get to her in a second. Let's follow the storyline. It is with great distress that I find myself having to write you at this time. However, the repercussions of my interaction with Bernie Bush, hereafter called Bernie, in February of 2023 on International Women's Day was, to say the least, disturbing and disgusting. It has been a difficult time for me since the incident, and it has caused great difficulty and suffering. Mentally, physically, and spiritually, I've had a significant setback in my life. Okay. The saddest thing of this, I did not ask, in bold and caps, for Bernie to come into my space, my mind, or my life for that matter. Interesting. Bernie's inconsideration and, quite frankly, disgraceful behavior at the reception fund, let me leave that out, the location, was one that I would have called the police to have him removed from GAB and arrested. Since the incident took place, I've been unable to sleep well, unable to get what he said out of my head. I've been crying, feeling depressed, and questioning myself about why I did not call the police immediately. Let me pause there. As someone who has, even myself, been in situations and dealt with police and, something happens, I appreciate that sometimes in the moment that something is happening, your reaction isn't what it should immediately be. But the question is, here we are all of these months later. Yes? Why have the police still not been called? Even if back in February, the day International Women's Day, whatever day that was in February, right? You were not moved that day to call the police. If you were truly distressed, physically suffering, emotionally suffering, spiritually suffering, all this suffering, that means that something traumatic have happened to you. Okay? And what that means in my mind is all these months later, you should have called the police. You should have filed a report. I found out about this in June. This incident happened in February. And by the way, other people have said to me that the complainant back in May was making threats. If she doesn't get this money, if she doesn't get a payout, I have the letter and she's going to come to me with this full expose and this full story. Now, folks, if you don't know anything about me, please make a note. Clase, atención, atención. I need y'all to make a note in your little notebooks, okay? If you know nothing else about me, know this. I do not like liars. I don't like them in my personal space. I don't like them in my personal life. I don't like them as politicians. I don't like them walking the streets, okay? And the last thing you should ever do, if you have 1 degree of sense, is to mix me up in your story if the story is not truthful. Because these things have a way of coming out, you know. So how is it that people out in the streets can tell me that in May, my name was being called up, CMR has this letter, CMR has this evidence, we're going to do a full expose when I didn't know anything about it until the end of June? Because, you know, once I hear that, I'm going to be like, no. Let's correct and set the record straight. I knew nothing about this till the end of June. I knew nothing about it in May. So that's a problem. Why would you need to tell someone that? It was what I heard to put pressure on the government. In fact, one of my sources, I'll put it to you this way, had the following to say in relation to this. They said, listen, it became very, very obvious to them, and, you know, I hate to tell you that this person's a woman, so this is not a man who's trying to take out for Bernie Bush. They said the credibility in all of this has really been called into question. There are numerous demands for money from both, personally from Wayne Panton. Like I said, show me the money bag. I want to know where Wayne Panton, he's like the little, what's the little green man called? The little leprechaun holding the pot of gold somewhere, right? And that if he didn't pay, the complainant was going to go to the media. Back in May, the storyline was that after his written apology, right? You know, that wasn't enough, needed money, and CMR was in on it. No. We not in on nothing. I didn't know anything about this until much later in June. When we inquired, we checked with the police. The police said we don't have any complaints. So from February to June, you feel so aggrieved by this that you don't make a complaint to the RCIPS? I don't know what the date on this letter is that's been circulating for a while, but even if in the moment, like I said, in the moment, you know, you're like confused, you don't know what to do, right? You now have the benefit of legal advice. Surely your lawyer should say, this amounts to a criminal act. Contact the RCIPS. Let's file a police report. Why are you talking about money? Why is the $750,000 the focus here? That makes me uncomfortable, to say the least. Yeah? All right. So here's the accusation. And again, even the nature of the accusation has also changed, which is quite interesting. All right. So Bernie walked up to my workspace and said, you have $5 I can borrow. This is in red now. Red. Want to make sure. Hold on. I think we're coming up in 5 minutes. We have to restart the radio. All right. 4 and 30 seconds. 30 seconds. All right. You have $5 I can borrow. I replied, Mr. Bush, if you need $5, I can certainly lend it to you, and you can bring it back for me later. Bernie's reply was, yes, lend me that $5 so I can buy a small pack of condoms, because the ones I tried on him last night didn't fit they were too big. And I have a small, and then he used a particular word, which we cannot use on radio. Okay. Then he proceeds to grab his crotch area to further emphasize his point, or this comment, it says. I was so shocked and stunned that I was at a total loss for words. I was embarrassed and quite frankly felt degraded as a woman, but more importantly, as a let me not say the title, because that gives away who the person is. We're not interested in that. Okay, I was also very embarrassed for my department, my ministry, the deputy governor, the premier, and the entire GAB staff and guests alike. Okay, except he didn't say it to all those people. So, all right. Bernie's actions were not only a criminal offense, but a great insult and disrespect to the entire government and people of the Cayman Islands. All right, let me stop right there for a second. If Bernie's actions were a criminal offense, and you've now had an opportunity to think about this, and you believe that it is a criminal offense, what do you do when someone has committed a criminal offense? You pick up the phone, 949-4222, or even call 911 if it's urgent. A crime has been committed. I am the victim of said crime, and I need to file a police report. Why do the police not have a police report? Now, here's another thing that is unfortunate about the situation. All of a sudden, there is this rhetoric going around. And again, I do not like people who are dishonest. It's a flaw that some people just have in their personalities, and y'all need to get with the program. Who then put out this narrative that the premier has sought to interfere with the course of justice. And the premier, a police report was filed, and the premier has spoken to the police commissioner and made sure this has gone nowhere. Whoa. I've got to tell you something. If my name was Wayne Panton, and I heard someone making such an allegation against me, I would sue you. I would sue the pants off of you, because this is a very serious allegation, folks. The sitting premier of this country is being caught up in a situation where one of his ministers has said something that he should have never said. It was inappropriate, right? Whether it's a criminal act or not, the fact that you haven't filed a police report to have the DPP decide if it's a criminal act is a problem. File your police report. It's not too late. I would suggest you do it now and see what the DPP's office has to say. But for you to put a narrative out there that the premier of this country has gone about trying to, cover this up is ridiculous. And this is where I go to bat for people, because when right is right and wrong is wrong, there's no gray area for me. Okay? I am not here to defend Premier Panton, right? I am not his lawyer. I'm not his bodyguard. But one thing I must say is this man has consistently, in his position to protect women, has consistently kept his messaging and his actions in line with each other. He was the only MP of all that, well, he wasn't even MP at the time, right? Of all MPs, past and present, that was out there, I should say past and present at that time, that was out there actually, that was out there protesting when Mr. Bush had assaulted this woman. He was the only one who publicly said, we support her. You are supported. #MeToo. He has fired one of his own government ministers because of his unbelievable behavior against women. Women who are so afraid that they were too afraid to go to the police. They were too afraid for retaliation. And so the one person they felt like they could trust in this moment was Premier Panton. And you know what? They had to do certain things because the premier can't make that type of a decision and fire a minister without you making formal complaints, even within government and statements. So he had to follow a certain protocol and a certain process, but he fired his own government minister and took the risk of destabilizing his own government to stand for and with women. And now people think that it's cute, $750,000 later, that you can throw out these comments that, oh, he's trying to interfere with justice. Let me tell you something. that type of an allegation, number one, it's criminal, right? To try to interfere with the course of justice, that's actually a criminal offense. So you're accusing the premier of this country of engaging in a criminal offense because Bernie making a comment, which he says was a joke about how small his man parts are? Are you kidding me? You're lucky that not me, because I would sue the bejesus off of you and anybody else who repeated such a ridiculous thing. Now, the irony of it is I also know that there are other people in government who have criminal investigations ongoing, who have been charged with criminal things that are going through the court system right now. Mr. Bush. And they themselves are of the opinion that the premier should somehow help them out and tell the DPP what to do. The premier would never. He is an attorney at law. I think he would still be an attorney. He would never in a million years do anything of the sort and interfere with justice. If he did, trust me, we would string him up by his nuts right here on this show. I do not believe that for 1 minute. But to now tell these different versions of the story and try to put the premier's reputation, both as the premier of this country and as, you know, a lawyer, someone who knows about upholding the values of the court and the law and the justice system, to talk about he's trying to cover up for Bernie Bush and he has told the police commissioner. So now you're also throwing the former police commissioner under the bus, because I can't believe that he would allow anyone to come to him and tell him what to do and what not to do with an investigation. That is a very serious allegation. And you know, the worst part about it is there are people in our community who would believe it. Oh, well, you know, politics, blah, blah. I was like, do you understand the magnitude of that allegation alone? Let me start sipping my apple cider vinegar, because y'all listen, you'd have to tread very, very lightly if you're making that kind of allegation against me, because that is at the height of corruption. That is a very, very serious allegation. Anyway, let's go back to the letter, and I'm going to get to some of your comments here in a second. I'm also watching the time every 5 minutes. We'll reconnect so our radio listeners can continue to hear us. We ended with this point about that it's not only a criminal offense, but a great insult and disrespect to the entire government and the people of the Cayman Islands. Well, I tell you what, these MPs and people in general do a lot, and people say a lot. A man talking about and this is just my opinion, you can have your own opinion. A man talking about, you know, making this inappropriate joke about his, you know, pee-pee being too small, I think is rude. It's uncalled for. Do I believe that that's a criminal offense? No, I don't think that that's a criminal offense. And I think that the parties involved, everybody knows that it's not a criminal offense, and that's why the police was never called. That's why a police report has never been filed, because even the lawyer that has been retained, right? Yes, sir. To, you know, try to collect this $750,000 would have advised you if you think this is a criminal offense. That is not a criminal offense. It is a disgusting, inappropriate joke, right? Does it amount to a criminal offense? I do not think so. But again, if you believe that that was the case, it would be your right to go to the RCIPS, file a police report, and have the DPP's office tell you in their legal and professional opinion whether they think it's a criminal offense or not. It would have been quite easy to do that. Anyhow, where am I? He was selfish, perhaps, and only thought of how he could bring attention to himself while insulting the modesty of a woman. That's actually not the definition of insulting a modesty of a woman, but let's get back to that in a second. Sexual misconduct and using indecent language to another person. He might have thought that he was being funny, but his actions were despicable and sick. So even in this letter, there is a recognition that the way that he said it, probably, we were not there, but the way that he said it and what he said was meant to be a joke, because it says that he may have thought that he was being funny, but his actions were despicable and sick. And there's a lot of jokes. Like, people say things that I might not find funny, but they think it's funny. You might not find funny. By the way, there's an accident in West Bay Road. Thank you so much, down by the Marriott. If you're in the area, try to avoid it. So yes, I get that about, it wasn't funny to you. I totally understand. Again, just because you don't find something funny, amusing, or whatever, that doesn't elevate it to a criminal act. Okay. So give me 1 second. We're going to restart here in just a second. And then I'm going to look at some of these videos coming in about the accident. Okay. So let me see how bad this accident looks. Woo, honey child. Lord have mercy. Whoa, y'all can't drive. No, sir. Uh-huh. All right. I'll pull up some of these videos. Thank you so much, folks, for sharing the accident videos. Only reiterating that y'all can't drive. But I guess we knew that already. Okay. All right. So, right, let's continue reading the letter. Let me see. Okay. So he was selfish, perhaps. Being selfish is normally a criminal act, but anyway. He might have thought that he was being funny, but his actions were despicable and sick. Until this very day, every time Bernie comes through the doors of, let's just say, government, I feel nauseated and want to throw up. Well, could this possibly be an overreaction? Is there something else going on here between Bernie and this individual? I don't really know, to be honest. But I've had people say stuff to me, and I might give them the side eye when I see them, and I might not like them. But the trauma that this woman is claiming, that she feels nauseated and wanting to throw up every single time she sees him at work, seems a bit extreme when he just said, oh, I need about $5 to buy a condom for my really small BB. What? Okay. All right, let's continue. I also had thoughts of what others who were present to hear Mr. Bernie's comments to me thought of me, and if he was implying that he wanted to have sex with me for money. It just goes to show how Bernie really felt about me. I'm confused. How does him saying, let him borrow $5 to buy a small size condom, mean that he wants to have sex with you? He didn't direct, and even the question of insulting the modesty of a woman, he didn't actually say anything to you. That's not what the definition of insulting the modesty of a woman is. I'm a little bit confused, but okay. I had to go back into therapy with my psychologist, which has placed a lot of unnecessary stress on me and my family. I've had so many confrontational discussions with my husband because of the way Bernie disrespected me. But your husband wasn't there, so your husband is getting your version of the story. And why would your husband be confronting you? Like, well, what is this really all about? My husband and I have had problems since this incident, and it has had a negative impact on our family's lives. In fact, my husband and I have recently separated because he felt I should have taken Bernie to court. Say what? What? All right, folks, give me a second. I do need to clear my sinuses. So this would be an appropriate time to take a commercial break and then try to dissect exactly what I just read.
Meanwhile, at the Burger King's castle. Underling, what news?
Sire, behold the fiery jalapeno cheese.
You might say it's jalapeno.
Please don't, sire. It's jalapenos with spicy cream cheese sauce and American cheese.
And it's jalapeno?
Please, sire.
Introducing the new fiery jalapeno cheese at Burger King. Flame grilled patties covered in jalapenos, spicy creamy cheese sauce, and American cheese. Available in extra long and king size for a limited time only. Grab it late at 7 Mile Beach or Red Bay. Open till midnight Thursdays and 1 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays.
It's jalapeno face.
Vehicles are not only unsightly, they also lower the quality of life in our neighborhoods and pose serious public health and safety risk. To report a derelict vehicle, please call the Department of Environmental Health on 949-6696.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
Oh, sorry, I'm muted. My apologies. Forgot to unmute myself. Chuck, I think you should be able to hear me now. Yes? Okay. So to me, this is very, very bizarre. This person is saying that her marriage has now broken down. Her husband and her have separated over the fact that Bernie Bush made this comment, and the husband obviously is of the opinion that that she should take him to court. I don't understand this. I mean, listen, we're all married. Well, some of us are married. Some of y'all got girlfriends, whatever. And, you know, sometimes you make a decision that your spouse may or may not agree with. But I'm okay. Hold on one second, Chuck. Let me just change this back then. But I'm really confused and perplexed at why your husband would separate from you over this situation. Your husband thinks that you should take him to court. What kind of court are we talking about? Your husband thought that you should file a police report and attempt to have him criminally charged, or does your husband think that you need to take him to civil court and try to recover $750,000? That's not the kind of thing that you separate with your spouse from. This whole thing makes no logical sense to me. I'm just, oh, when did this storm come out the window, y'all? Wow. I'm just not understanding it. What husband leaves you because a man says something rude and out of the way, which you went and told the husband? The husband only has your version of it, right? But then your husband is going to break up the marriage because he felt I should take Bernie to court? Honey child, if your husband is leaving you over something that is that trivial, when the real things hit in life, your husband not going to be able to handle it. I mean, I don't know what kind of relationship this is, but to me, this sounds a bit contrived, and I do not believe this for 1 second. And if your husband has really left you over, you know, or he thinks that you should take him to court, then your husband not got no damn sense. And I hate to tell you, you should probably leave him in any event. All right, the letter continues. Like I said, it's a 3-page letter, so work with me here, folks. I've had a very difficult childhood and many struggles growing up. I was physically abused by my father at the age of 14. And this is all in the letter. And like I said, this letter was circulated by the complainant quite widely to a number of people. All right, so she says that she was abused by her father at the age of 14. And in that, he was upset with my mother and decided to beat me 40 times with his police belt buckle. Jesus Christ. I managed to run away and go to Miss So-and-so's house. When I arrived at Miss So-and-so's house, my body had begun to swell. I was then rushed over to Aunt So-and-so's house. And by the time I reached there, my body had swollen 3 times the normal size. Make it impossible to remove my clothing, stuck to my body, and it was soaked in blood. Each time they tried to take it off, I would scream. I was then rushed to the hospital where I was treated at the emergency room. The doctors and nurses were absolutely stunned at the extent of my injuries. They had to pour warm oil into my pants, where most of the trauma was. Warm oil. And then proceed to peel the clothing off slowly. Warm oil? Why did you pour warm oil on somebody who's been beaten? Okay, I'm not a doctor. It took approximately 2 hours to complete. All right. After this horrible experience, my Aunt So-and-so insisted on me going into therapy, and she had seen signs of depression from this terrible beating from my father. Well, that's horrible. I wonder if your father, did anybody take him to court? He should be in jail. That's child abuse. Anyway, this was so embarrassing as all of my friends and family were made aware of what had happened to me and that I was in therapy. Well, who would have made them aware? Okay, let's continue. Cayman at the time was not as populated as it is now, and so it was well known throughout the district what had happened to me. Now, fast forward to 2016, I was hired for a temp job within government and my immediate supervisor sexually assaults me. I reported the matter to the proper authorities and then spent the next 2 years resolving this matter outside of the public eye in court. The individual who assaulted me was since dismissed from her post. Her post. So a woman sexually assaulted you? I was internalizing all my anger and frustration from this incident, which led to me having to go into therapy. I spent 2.5 years in therapy again. Okay. One must also note that I am in a really great place. I was in a really great place, when Bernie took it upon himself to make an unnecessary joke, and they put that in quotes, at my expense, literally. But the joke wasn't about you. This is where I'm confused. It wasn't at your expense because it wasn't about you. It was about him. It was a self-deprecating joke about himself. You heard the joke. He might have said it to you, and I don't know if he was specifically, I mean, you said he's asked the bar to $5, and that's what he said, but the joke wasn't about you. It was about Bernie. So I'm not understanding this fully. Okay? Goes on to say, when this incident took place, I was celebrating my 25th anniversary of sobriety. On that same day, I was surprised by my department, blah, 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 blah. I don't get into detail because I might identify the person. I was so happy, so excited, and most importantly, ecstatic about the direction that my life was taken. My family was happy. Everybody's doing well. I was making progress in my personal endeavors when Bernie decided to be a comedian at my expense. So again, there is an acknowledgement here multiple times that this was a joke. By the way, folks, if you're in the Eastern Districts, there's a detour through Agricola Road coming from Bodden Town. I think it might be road works, but I'm not 100% sure. Or it could be an accident. Okay? All right, let's keep this going here, honey child. This story gets more interesting by the minute. So this incident has sent me right back into therapy. I was faced with a wide range of emotional feelings. I felt like I wanted to die. I felt small. I felt anger. I felt like I wanted him to be just as embarrassed as he made me feel. I felt like it didn't matter what I did in this life. I would always find people like Bernie to make me feel insignificant. The whole incident pushed me over the edge, and I started to have feelings of frustration, impatience, and loss of hope. Something is off. In law, y'all know I went to law school, honey child, and I do have a law degree. So thank you. Somebody said the Detours for Water Authority works. Thank you to our astute listeners. In law, there is a principle that you find someone as you take them, like you find your victim as you take them. So if your victim, has certain peculiarities, emotional distress, whatever, you kind of find them as you take them. But to me, this is not adding up. As someone who knows Bernie quite well and undoubtedly would have heard all sorts of jokes from Bernie over the umpteenth years that they grew up together and that they were friends. I'm not friends with Bernie. People say that he can be crude and crass, and that's who he is. I suggest he makes some adjustments. But again, the reaction here seems really, really over the top. You want him to die because Bernie's joking about the size of his own manhood? Why would you want to die about that? And I don't like to question how people feel about comments or situations, but I struggle to understand this one on all levels. I struggle really, really hard for this to make any sense. Anyway, she's saying this is how she felt. Then she said Bernie's reaction to my reporting him to the deputy governor was not received well by him. After I reported him to the DG, Bernie came to the area, frustrated and angry. He slammed his hand down on the counter and stated, "I need to talk to you now." Okay, all in caps. I assisted my customers, and then one customer saw the rage in Bernie's face and the way he was pacing back and forth behind me. And the customer said, "What's the problem? He looks really angry and upset." I did not say anything to them regarding the incident. However, they insisted that he was going to stay around until Bernie finished speaking to me because he didn't like the way that Bernie was acting. After I turned to Bernie to find out what he needed, he stated, "You think I didn't hear or what? Think I don't know you told on me? In fact, I know you reported me." By this time, he had raised his voice, bringing more attention to the scene he was creating. "But let me tell you something." And he calls her name, which we're not going to call on radio. "I have been telling that joke for 20 years, and no one, including women, Lord Jesus, never got offended. But since you got offended, I was told to come downstairs and apologize." Then he walks away. That was even more insulting than him making a joke. Bernie believes that he has the right, she puts that in quotes, to make jokes at another person's expense, and this infuriated me that he would actually get offended for me reporting him. Again, the joke wasn't at your expense. It was actually at his expense because the joke is about him. So I don't know. There's some fundamental misunderstanding about the joke. Like the joke clearly did not go over well. It missed the mark completely. Okay. Let's continue, folks. So I was later asked on by the DG to go to a meeting with the Premier's office on May, of which I attended with my lawyer, Clyde Allen. When we got to the meeting, the Premier's office was represented by Miss Pilar Bush. Ms. Bush started the meeting by saying that there was an incident and we discussed the matter in great detail. Mr. Allen stated that there were several occasions when Bernie had made other disturbing comments to other staff members throughout GAB on a regular basis, and then a lot of them were right in the GAB. Mr. Bush was mortified at the thought that all these disgusting comments were made in the GAB. Mrs. Bush, sorry, Pilar, that is. One complaint was Bernie stated to a few ladies on the 5th floor, "I don't speak to niggas, especially black Caymanians." Another was said to a female employee, "You don't have to speak to me because when I finish work today, I go home and take your husband away." Okay. Bernie went on to say that "I don't see why anyone getting offended. I tell jokes like this all the time." He further insisted that "I'm a nigga, my mother's a nigga, and I can call people nigga all the time." Lord Jesus. What a mess. Ms. Bush then stated that Bernie had a letter of apology to present to me, but the letter, see attached, was not stating what Bernie had said, but vaguely stated that he was sorry and not dealing with what he had done. Okay. This unnecessary incident has left me a very uneasy feeling and has not been easy since it occurred. I am therefore seeking compensation from Bernie in a civil lawsuit, citing irreconcilable differences, which has fractured my marriage. I'm constantly crying at home. I'm not eating properly, and I'm affected, and it has affected my exercise routine. The incident has also started to affect me at work because every time I see Bernie, I'm absolutely sickened to my stomach. People see me smile, but no one knows what I feel inside. At one of the most crucial times in my life, where I was finally feeling a sense of accomplishment in my life, when now I have to deal with this matter. It's unfortunate, but it is necessary for others not to have to go through this experience with Bernie or anyone else. I'm seeking compensation from Bernie for my lawyer's fees amounting to $2,950 and my fees for my counseling from Wellness Center. And then they named the person, the counselor. I'm also seeking damages for Bernie's role in disrupting my life with meetings, counseling, etc., and the amount of $750,000 for past fees and for future fees for my counseling and well-being. Kindly let me know how you can help me at this really difficult time in my life. And that is how the letter ends. So $750,000, $2,000 in change for legal fees, and then fees for counseling from the Wellness Center. Doesn't the Wellness Center give free counseling? I mean, wouldn't government pay for that? If you have most employers, if they go through the Wellness Center, that's a benefit. Do you actually have to pay to go through the Wellness Center? So listen, I get the sense that something isn't right here. I don't know what other kind of relationship this person had with Bernie Bush. And if they had heard countless jokes from him in the past, like I said, At some point in time, you needed to say to Bernie Bush, I don't like your jokes. Don't say them around me. Don't let me hear them. You know, I'm insulted, blah, blah, blah. Clearly, that has never happened. Is Bernie crass and rude? Yes. Bernie, if you're paying attention today, you have got to stop saying these jokes around people. You're going to insult people. Is it a criminal act? In my humble opinion, it does not amount to a criminal act. Is it an act that requires $750,000 worth of counseling? I think that if it has affected you in such a way that there's much more going on here with you, and it has nothing to do with Bernie Bush. Let's be very, very clear here, right? So there's only two logical explanations, folks, that any reasonable person could glean from this. On the one hand, this is either what we would call in, layman's terms, a money grab, a shakedown, whatever you want to call it, or you really are having some sort of a breakdown that does require professional intervention, but quite frankly, it has nothing to do with Bernie Bush. I do note with interest the two instances that were mentioned. One at the age of 14, where your father, it says, physically abused you because he beat you with 40 times with his police belt buckle. I mean, that's horrific. I keep telling y'all, you're damaging your children in the name of chastising them. The fact that he was a police and he would even do something like that is shocking and disturbing. And, your issues probably have more to do with that type of environment, growing up in that type of environment. I can't believe that anybody, especially a police officer, would beat a child with a belt buckle 40 times. And, you seem to have very, very strong memories of the physical trauma of that, what happened at the hospital and all this kind of thing. And then you fast forward to 2016, when you're working in a temp position with government, and then a female supervisor sexually assaults you. I don't know. It didn't say what kind of assault that was. I mean, I don't know what the woman did. I don't know if she grabbed you, can women rape each other? I guess if they have an object, I don't know what that means. It didn't say rape or anything. It said a sexual assault. And that required a further 2.5 years in therapy. Again, something not adding up here. Let's look at your comments, folks, and see what's going on. Blackberry, good morning, says maybe she feels pressured, by the threat of the husband leaving, hence the demand for the $750,000. I don't know. The husband, something not adding up. Alejandro says it's rude and just know your limits. That's all. Johan says, Auntie Sandy, the next time you cuss me out live in the air, you're going to pay me $750,000. I will not quit until you get your Johan, he gonna get cussed out again today if he's not careful. Alejandro says, but with the many foolishness I've seen and heard in my life, I wish that I could sue the public, but I don't have nightmares I don't have nightmares. I'll live. Darlene says these men, government reps especially, needs to keep their heads in the right space. Alejandro says traumatizing, talk about intrusive thoughts. Salvin says victims must be given space and time to get their emotional state of mind together. However, if such person was out to make money, then the other side of the law should kick in: scamming, fraud, theft, or all of the above. Siobhan says $750,000. She ain't gonna get that. She's overreacting. I don't know if anything is going on, but they know each other quite well. I mean, I've known of women who have been raped and have never even demanded money. But if they did, look at the woman who was physically beaten by McKeeva Bush. She got a couple $1,000s. Those are not words. Like, he physically assaulted her and was throwing her around in a kitchen and she was bruised, and that would be some friggin' drama for you. Black and Blue, and compensation, she got a couple $1,000s. Oh, here's replacing your phone, your medical bills. I want to see this bill from the counseling center. This person says Cayman Counseling Center offers free counseling for Caymanians. Huh. What a hot mess. I don't know. This sounds pretty crazy to me. All right. Your messages coming in fast and furious. Let's try to get through some of them. Our radio listeners, thank you for your patience. I keep restarting it and monitoring it every 5 minutes. And we'll try to get to the bottom of what's causing that so that hopefully we can be back to normal tomorrow. Rough C says if you want to get him back, just wave him your pinky finger in public every time you see him. What does that mean? Your pinky finger? Wave him your pinky finger? What? Alejandro says talk about cutting links. Jackie says glad you brought this up. Sounds pretty weird to me. This is a time when we got to be real. Well, this is a time where we want to be real. We want to be sure, real cases are dealt with properly. Sounds like bad taste joke and overreaction of the small peanut in the room. Trust me, says Marshall, if they were separated over that, he wanted to go. Like I said, honey chill. Johan, we're going to skip that comment. Inspiring, thank you. Garrett says, good morning, welcome back. What did I miss? Oh, God. You miss a lot, honey chill. Alejandro says, not going to try and offend the husband, but that's ladylike. Blackberry says that divorce and separation story sounds suspicious. Maybe the husband thinks the wife and Bernie are having an affair. I mean, that would make more sense. I don't see my husband leaving me because somebody insulted himself. It's just weird. I gotta tell you, the whole thing don't make no sense. Okay. Let me see here now. Let me get this other comment up. Where was this one saved? This person sent this on WhatsApp. Okay, hold on. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Does it make sense to anybody? Is there anybody who says this makes sense? $750,000 is legit. Someone lying in the situation says Alejandro. Al Ray says sounds like a cockamamie story. Irvin says amen. Dean says it's not adding up. Some missing pieces to this puzzle. Blackberry says maybe she feels pressured by the threat of the, we read that one. Yes. She's suing for emotional damages, but from what I was told, he makes jokes like this all the time, but he shouldn't have said it anyhow, which I agree. I hope Bernie has learned a lesson. Johan says, Marshall, that was #savage. Nobody knows what goes on in either people's situation, etc. Thank you, Jav. D says, welcome back. Appreciate it. Alejandro says, I know people that freely make sexual comments, and it only reminds me of kids just learning about sex. Okay. I mean, there's a level of maturity here, right? I don't know what you're going around talking about your parts for anyway, but Sandy says, I heard that joke several times before from Bernie. Well, he needs some new material. If he wants to be a stand-up comedian, you retire from government and you do that. Siobhan says he made the joke about himself. She's overreacting, and for the husband to leave, there's more to it. Lavana says Bernie always runs his jokes, and they're usually about him. Gabby says, so he made a joke about himself, and it cost her marriage, her mental state, and I guess her money, as she's seeking $750,000. Miss Daphne says, Sandy, you know I love Bernie. Just for that, I never see him, and he never give me a joke and make me laugh. What? Sandy, you know I love Bernie. Just for that. I never see him, and so he's always joking. Okay. I'm telling him to keep the sexual jokes to himself. Irvin said he's always joking, so why take it so serious? Alejandro says, for real, they're all jokes. If it felt personal, it should be said to him then and there. Now, let's move on. Hey, Miss Morna, to something else. Dean says maybe she wanted it why he joked about the size, just saying, no. Let's be very, very clear. Everybody has to take responsibility for their behavior. Okay. So we don't believe in victim shaming, victim blaming. She has felt a way about his comments. I personally think that her response is a bit unusual. However, she's entitled to her feelings. Facts are a whole different situation. Whether this amounted to a criminal act and so forth is a whole other matter as well. But let's not get into trying to shame her in any way about maybe she wanted Bernie Bush. I'm sure if they'd been friends for donkey years, if she wanted him, she probably could have had him. So let's not go there. She's a married woman. Let's continue to respect her, sanctity in that regard. Philip says Clyde Allen. Well, that speaks volumes. Looks like Cayman's ambulance chaser is stepping up his act. Whatever happened to all his problems at the court? I thought they had stopped him from practicing. On that note, where's my apple cider vinegar this morning? I will just sip that and mind my own business over here in the corner. Philip. Woo! This is my first sip of apple cider vinegar in 2 weeks, y'all. Oh my God. Johan says, so it's alleged that Bernie caused the marriage to break down. Okay, now this story just drove off the cliff. Father God, help us, says Johan. Thank you, Mr. Ransford. It's a money grab, says Gabby. Miss Darlene says, Bernie is Bernie. I've known him for over 50 years. I'm not saying that what took place was okay, but come on now. It sounds so off. Looks like she wants money to get her husband back. Money is the root of all evil. Just saying, says Miss Morna. Irvin says Bernie is a comedian. Well, I've never known him to be a comedian. She's plain and simple. I think he needs to give up that day job or go be a full-time comedian. So I'm not giving Bernie right. I want y'all to understand me very, very carefully here. The comment was inappropriate. Don't do it again, Bernie. But at the same time, is it a comment worth $750,000? No. Now, let's talk about the story. So the story came out in the Compass. Oh, somebody said pinky finger means small peepee. Oh, okay. This is 16-year-old stuff, y'all. I can't remember these conversations because when I was 16, I wasn't having those kind of conversations because, Aunt Lottie would have put her foot down. But anyhow, okay, Bernie. Okay, we got you now. I'm on the same page, everybody. Okay. So listen to me now. Oh, God. The Compass grabbed the story, and of course, everybody knows that the Compass needs a good read these days. Y'all wouldn't be reading it for any other reason, I hate to tell you. So congratulations to Rajma for getting this story. And the thing about it, though, Rajma, is you got to do your best to try to make sure that it's accurate. So, for example, when Miss Julie then jumps in after the fact and talking about, well, nothing was going on, there was no resolution. Nobody did anything to it. This is Julie taking a jab at the premier. Let me just be very, very clear. These politicians are so backstabby. My God, it's not even funny. Them love to backstab each other, you see. So she basically has claimed, and she said it, that nobody did anything until she came in her white horse, galloping in. Gallop, gallop, gallop. Come on in. Come on through, Aunt Julie. Tell us the truth now. She claims that she came galloping in to rescue the civil servant. Well, I do think on so many levels, my dear, that is beyond interesting. Because there have been numerous cases where women needed you to speak up and you to rescue them. And quite frankly, that has never happened. So I don't quite understand. I'm like, what? This is your time? Months after an incident that you're going to come to the rescue, galloping in on your white horse to rescue somebody? I'm not quite believing this. I'm thinking this has more to do with politics than anything else. Are you ready for the premiership position now? Is that what I'm hearing you say? Lord Jesus. The problem I have with that story and with Miss Julie saying to Rajma that, oh, nobody did anything about it until she stepped in and then she forced Bernie to issue an apology is, number one, it's just actually not true. And so, we live in a very small community. Everybody has Premier Panton's contact information. If Julie says, oh, I'm the rescuer here, finally I decided to stand up for women after 50-something years. I'm going to stand up for a woman. Forget about all the other victims, but this victim I'm going to finally stand up for. Good for you. I made Bernie apologize. I took control. I'm the leader here. The Premier couldn't make him apologize, but I did it. What I would have done, call me an amateur journalist, as I would have reached out to the Premier and said, sir, we're going to do another story because we got such good traction from the first story. We're going to do a follow-up story about how Juliana O'Connor Connolly and Julie said that she came to the rescue and you didn't do nothing. And as a man who has stood for women in the past, why would you not help this alleged victim? This sounds a bit fishy. Well, what we then find out is Aunt Julie's story is very fabricated at best, an outright lie at worst. Okay, let's read the Premier's statement, and I'm going to leave it to you to believe who you want to believe. Okay? We contacted him when we saw the headline. Juliana O'Connor Connolly says she's the one who made him apologize. Nobody had done nothing, blah, blah, blah. I said, whoa, sir, this can't be right. I said, Premier Panton did nothing? I mean, I know the man busy, but I find this hard to believe. So we contacted his office. And within a short period of time, we got this response. Dear Mrs. Hill, further to your request on Saturday, October 21st. So when I should have been enjoying my little vacation, I'm reaching out going, hold up now. Pull the horses in. What is this all about? Right? I get a response saying, further to your request for a statement from Premier, please find the response below. Each time that this matter is brought to my attention, this is what the Premier said, either I or someone acting on my behalf address the issue in February, May, and again in August. What month are we in now? October? In February, I received a verbal briefing on the matter. I then spoke with the minister and understood that he had apologized and the issue had been resolved. So in Bernie's head, the issue was resolved, but clearly not. You better get that $750,000 check ready. On the 4th of May, during my absence, the Honorable Deputy Premier was advised by the head of the civil service that the said employee had expressed her dissatisfaction with the minister's earlier verbal apology. And following this advice, the Deputy Premier contacted senior staff in my office to assist in having a written apology provided to the employee. I was briefed on the matter by the Deputy Premier via a phone call. Later that evening, I received written confirmation from my office that the employee was satisfied with the outcome and that the way in which the matter, was handled. In late August, I again received indication of dissatisfaction and for the first time, a written complaint from the employee. She received a response within a week. For the good of all the parties involved and given the sensitive nature of the matter, I continued to exercise restraint in my comments. I mean, I got to respect the Premier for that, but I know it wouldn't be me. This particular time, folks, there'd be no restraint in my comments. I would just have to tell y'all the cold hard truth. My apologies. My sinuses. So, restraint in his comments, he's still, trying to have restraint when nobody else is having restraints. And in fact, they are throwing him under the bus, claiming that he was trying to interfere with a criminal complaint when the police say that there has been no criminal complaint made. So let's put this to bed here now, right? You have a situation that happened in February. We're now in October. There's been ample opportunity to engage lawyers, to engage the Premier on multiple occasions, to have Bernie do a verbal apology, a written apology, and the works. And we still have no resolution. Finally, the media gets a hold of it in October, and there's this request for $750,000, which apparently the Compass apparently knew nothing about, didn't mention it, that now has us all scratching our head going, what on earth is really going on here? The takeaway. Bernie Bush, stop with the lewd jokes. These people are not really your friends, and I don't care if you grew up with them in the back bush of West Bay. Politics being what it is, you should mind your P's and Q's. When you're at work, you be professional. Okay? If you're out drinking with your friends and you want to try it then, well, that's on you. I wouldn't recommend it either. Unless you are bosom buddies with these individuals, which you and this person might be, or you thought you were, but now you've always seen a very different side of the situation. Yeah? 750 reasons. I could give you 750,000 reasons why you want to mind your P's and Q's. Miss Julie, please go take several seats in the church pew all the way in the back of the church. You not fooling nobody. Got my eyes on you, girl. I see you, auntie. You're not fooling me with your comment that nothing happened until you got involved. Because I can't believe that you would not have been aware. If you had a phone conversation with Premier Panton, he would have briefed you on what he knew, when he knew it, back in February, and what he had attempted to do. The fact that she wasn't happy with the oral apology. Everybody knew there was an oral apology. Because at that point, when I found out in June, I was even told about the oral apology. So how you all pretend now, Johnny come lately, Auntie come lately, that all of a sudden nothing happened until you got involved? That does not even make any logical sense. Stop playing politics, right? It seems to me that what you should do as a woman of the cloth is you should take this civil servant under your frocks and try to give her some additional counseling and some additional help. Maybe you could impart some wisdom to her as a woman who's been around a lot of men over the years that are just downright disgusting and rude. You need to do a class on telling women how to really handle these crass men. Miss Juanita says, who don't really know Bernie by now? Well, you never know him. Bernie is Bernie for real. He keeps some hot jokes himself. Bernie, hot jokes himself, Bernie, you better learn from this and keep your mouth. I think there's a lot of lessons to go around here. Here's another one. This person says, good morning, Sandy. Welcome back. She knows Bernie. Oh, hold on. I moved that comment. She knows Bernie from childhood, and it all is about money, honey child. She don't give any comeback because lots of years were wasted. She don't have any comeback. For the rest of her civil service life, she would not make half that amount. So she want to get paid. Sandy, I'm just wondering now if she not back on. This seems to not be a good thing here. What if she's not back on? This seems like a good thing here, but blaming Bernie Bush for it. Someone's asking about drug use. I don't think that that's going on here. I know who it is, but why she not getting it? She not getting it, and it about Bernie, not her. Wondering if this is a setup. Is she a PPM person? Then this making me think strong. Okay, she ran against him in the past and lost, but I know. I don't know why she's like that. Bernie is wrong, but I still have to think different. I don't think it's her that actually ran against Bernie. I don't want to go too far down that line because obviously I'm not trying to divulge who the individual is. Wanda says, so right, Sandy. We have been looking for Ms. Julie to comment in other cases and heard crickets. Ridiculous. Yes, honey child. And big crickets at that. I mean, like I said, when it comes to politics, I can't really take the games, tell you the truth. What a hot mess. I drank all this water already this morning. Ooh, honey child, I'm doing good with water intake. Trying to drink more water, y'all. All right. Johan says Sandy is in super salty mode with the compass. No, I'm just speaking the truth. It's if the truth is salty, then it is what it is, right? Let's be very, very clear here, folks. That was her mother. She ran against Bernie Bush. Really? Oh, you know what? Okay, I didn't even remember that she ran for office. Oh, never mind. We don't want to go down that. Okay. I have a question. Rescue who, says Jess. Talking about Julie. She better try and rescue herself. All right, honey child. This person says, well, she's no shrinking violet. This is clear an attempt to hitch onto someone else's wagon, knowing that these ladies were going to succeed in their case against McKeeva. She's been biding her time for someone to abuse her so she could blackmail CIG, thinking that she had the same level of support from the public. Unfortunately, her tactics are so transparent, and now she'll likely lose her good job, which took her years to finally get. Her marriage, her sobriety. Well, listen, the person says she needs help. Let me be very, very clear. I don't want her to lose her job or lose anything else for that matter. I think that if she requires counseling, continue to get counseling, government folks will pay for the counseling for free. It is what it is. And I wouldn't really, worry about that. The lawyer's fees, Clyde Allen, he'll write those off for you, honey child. Let's assume that he's an upright attorney and he'll write that off for you. Okay. Like I said, that's an assumption now. This person says, Julie, better go rescue those poor children from the heat at CHHS. Woo! We're back, folks. Gotta love my people. Y'all can tell the truth. Tell her go rescue them children from the heat, this person says. That's the best comment of the morning. Yes. She needs to rescue them from poor education too. She got a lot of rescuing to do. The person goes on to say, you notice that she didn't go to none of the high school and especially Clifton Hunter graduation where the heat had them sweating like a pot cover. Ooh, honey child, I heard about it. Why didn't she go to any of the graduations? She needs to be fired. Cayman Brockers. I know y'all call her the Teflon. I guess she wouldn't be Teflon Dawn. What would she be, Donna? Teflon Julie? I don't know, but this woman don't perform. And the sad thing is, I'm always torn when I talk about Juliana because part of me knows how talented she is. She's an orator. This woman don't have to write down nothing. You sit down with her, she can just bloop, 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 rattle off a speech. But none of that to me matters if you're not really doing the things you need to do. Like, you got to show up. We tell our young people, you want a job? The first thing you need to do is show up to work. Then you perform. Then you do. She didn't go to any graduation. Why? Does anybody know why? You're the minister of education, for God's sake. And you don't go to any of the recent high school graduations? Was she in Grand Cayman? Was she in the Brock putting up her foot on her veranda? Her feet? What is this all about? And these Brock MPs, by the way, these Brock MPs, just to be clear, get an extra allowance for transportation and housing to be able to come here. How much was it? An extra is it 5,000 a month? I think it's, or is it 10,000? I think it's 5,000. There's 25 for transportation, 25 for housing. Like, seriously? Somebody said that she said that government didn't want to pay for her therapy. I mean, again, other people said you can get therapy for free. But there's no such thing as therapy worth $750,000. What kind of therapy is that? Geez, on peace, they better fix. What's the name of that show? Ilana, whatever. What's her name? Something. Ilana, Fix My Life. the one that Oprah kind of made famous. Child, I would be like, fix my life for $750,000. In fact, let's just start over. Rewind all 50 years. No, sir. You need counseling, and government is going to tell you they're not going to get you counseling? Okay. Caller. Oh, yes. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Yes. Oh, honey child. How are you? So good to hear your voice.
And you. And you know what? It's all in good time. And because I didn't have a voice until this morning.
Oh, no. You had a cold or what?
I had whatever.
I hear that bad flu been going around.
That's what I had. And
Oh.
sort of fighting with the remnants of it.
Uh-huh.
I thought it had gone, but then it decided it wanted to circle back. Anyway, first of all, welcome back.
Thank you so much.
Secondly, I have a little bone to pick with you.
Oh, gosh.
With your travel choices. So, not travel choices, your flight choices.
Oh, I didn't have a choice. Believe me, you. It was a group trip, so it was all organized by a group.
Yeah, but did the package include your airline ticket?
Mm-hmm. It was everything. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because in fact, some people said that, Cayman Airways has a direct flight from New York, and they were wondering why they couldn't have arranged it where we came back on Cayman Airways straight from New York instead of having to go through Miami. But yeah, it was arranged. They did everything, hotel, the whole works. And I guess that's how they're able to get such good prices because, of the group.
Okay, so let me ask you, did you do this through a travel group?
It was actually through the chamber. So they have a travel group. They take an annual trip.
Okay.
And so then they have, I think, like a destination company or whatever travel company do everything for them.
I just wondered because when I went to Greece, well, I did it with a travel company as well, but I did British Airways from here, Heathrow into Greece.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, I went into Italy, and then from Italy to Greece. So I was just wondering why you didn't do that route.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't believe that you had Marlon sitting behind you all the time. Anyway, it comes back to someone to watch over me, I guess. However, I just want to say I am really happy that you went to Greece.
Yes.
That has always been on my bucket list from I was a young girl. And it's one of those things that when you actually get there, you got to pinch yourself and say, am I here? Kind of thing. Because I always had this dream of going up the Acropolis, and just bear with me a second here.
Yes.
When I was finally going to do this trip, I had slipped down.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, not there, but and I torn both of my knees, and one was torn. One was torn for the second time. Anyway, so there I was doing all of this treatment on my knees with this and that and that and that. And then, so I got them all injected and stuff, went on my trip, and I said, you know what? I don't care how I'm getting down, but I'm going up there.
And it's a lot of walking, let me tell you.
Well, going up there, especially because, those marble spoons are so slippery. So anyway, I took my time and I got up there with my pictures. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to beat the rush going back down because I don't want anybody to knock me over and I slip down. And then there was this elderly lady there. She was there with her family, but she was ready to go down as well. So it was quite a joke because it was like blind leading the blind. So I had her by the hand. And creeping and going down. Finally, I don't know if it was her son or son-in-law. He saw us. And then he came and he took her from me. And he was just saying, oh, thank you so much. And she was thanking me. And I'm saying to myself, no, thank you. So at least I had two hands to get back down. But I really loved it. And, and then I also did some of the Greek islands. And I kind of suspected that you'd gone to Santorini. And I kind of heard your comments on that as well. And I must say I share your sentiments because, I hear people making this big old hoorah about Santorini especially. And quite frankly, I don't see I didn't see it. Okay. And I
Mhm.
thought, I said, maybe it's just me, but
Mhm.
this is no big deal, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's a
And
couple nice little sites for
yeah, I mean,
pictures and
except to me, except for the white buildings with the blue caps
yes.
and that little road, that stairway road that you were talking about. I
Mhm.
thought that was quite nice, you know, to have everything in arm's length. But this is what I really wanted to say because I have to endorse this,
Mhm.
your experience with the Chinese. Because God Almighty, I thought
Mm.
I was the only one that
Mm-mm.
said that they are the most, and I'm going to say it raw, they are the most disgusting, despicable,
Mhm.
annoying people, and they are everywhere. It don't matter where in the
Yes.
world you travel, they are there. And you know, you're trying to take a picture and they're
Uh-huh.
jumping in the front, like they want to, you know. And I'm sorry, the same way you spoke to them, I did it too, because I just
Mhm.
got enough of it. And I actually said we were in Russia, and I'm there trying to. We were at this beautiful garden place, trying to get pictures, and they're up, and I just lost it. And I said, "Excuse me, move!" I said,
Mm-mm.
"Get out of the way." I said, "I don't want you in my pictures." I said, "You're too disgusting." And you know, they see you actually there trying to get a picture, and
Mhm.
they just jump in the front of your camera, you know. And
Mhm.
I was sick of them because you know I was doing a tour, and every country you got to, you had to deal with them, and
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
step all over you. You know, they if they could sit in your plate, I swear they would do it. They
Mhm.
are annoying.
Mm.
I mean, minus the Chinese, you know.
You know what someone said to me though, and I had to take it on board. Someone who was in our group, they said, when you're one of how many billion people in China, you have to learn to be aggressive to get anything done.
Mm.
So I said,
Well,
yeah,
well,
maybe. I don't know.
well, the question that I have really, and no one has been able to answer this for me. I don't know if you can, but I've been wondering this for so many years.
Mhm.
China's supposed to be communist, right?
Mhm.
So I keep wondering where do these Chinese come from? Are they coming from China or are they Chinese that live elsewhere? You know, because
Mm.
for a communist country, they get to travel a lot. That's my thinking. But you know, I just wish they would.
Yes.
But like I said, don't matter where you go, they're there. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
I mean, because I mean, I've traveled to a couple of the continents and stuff, and everywhere.
Mhm.
I don't think I saw too many of them in Africa, but
Mm.
everywhere else. Oh my God, they are annoying. They're disgusting, and they like ching chings in your ears everywhere you go,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you know they're stepping all over you and knocking your luggage over if you happen to be in the hotel or at the same time with them.
Mhm.
Gosh, they're disgusting. That's all I can keep saying. Disgusting,
All
disgusting.
right.
So my travel experiences have
Yes.
been great, minus the Chinese.
Mhm. Thank you,
But
my dear.
I'm really glad that you know you went
Yes,
and
for
that
sure.
you got you know to I don't know if it was your first time to Europe or not, but
Mhm.
obviously you know one of the things I didn't hear you touch on, but you know I'm going to bring it up,
Mhm.
and it's the fact that you went to another country,
Mhm.
and of course you didn't have people from Spain or people from Portugal
Mhm.
leading you, giving you tour guides or trying to give you tour guides
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
stuff. You had the Greeks doing it.
Yep.
So you got to meet them, you got to hear
Absolutely.
from them, and so on. And just to say about the tour guides, I don't know about the group that you went with, but the group that I traveled with, they have
Mhm.
what they call tour directors, right? So they're the ones in charge of the whole group and they organize everything. And when you're going on your actual tours, what they have then is what they call a specialist. And that's someone that knows everything about
Mhm.
that place.
Mhm.
So you don't have to ask anyone along the way
Mhm.
anything about anywhere. You can ask them. And
Mm.
what they don't have in their head, they have all their little cards, you know, that they can just pull it out, and they can, you know, tell you exactly what it is about this place and so on.
Mhm.
And did you
Okay.
buy any did you buy any leather when you were in Greece?
No, I tell you what, one of the mistakes I made, to be honest, is I overpacked.
Ah,
So I didn't have room to buy much of anything and to bring back much of anything.
but
Um,
you haven't heard about leaving stuff in the hotel room.
no. Oh God, no.
You know,
You know,
no, but
because I
don't
thought we were gonna have more like formal dinners every night, and as it turned out, we had long
okay.
tours, so we didn't have time
Yeah.
for that. But yeah, so I came back with an entire suitcase full of clothes that never got worn. So next time I'll pack less, I think is a lesson there.
Yes.
But
and just remember, you're traveling like that,
Mhm.
and more than likely, everywhere you go, you can see something you really like.
Yes.
You buy that,
Mhm.
But
yeah,
you know,
I don't think my husband minded though, because he's like, oh, no money to spend. That's great.
No shopping, but you know what? If he was my husband, he was gonna have to help me unpack my overpack bag. I was gonna need stuff.
Oh, don't worry. You know, in Santorini, they're famous. They're known for those little donkeys, right? So they have the donkeys all over the place. So he started to joke that he was the donkey carrying all of my carry-on pieces strapped onto him. So anyway, Miss Brenda, thank you so much. I appreciate hearing from you, and I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
All right, my dear. All right, folks. We're back. Yes. Lots of interesting comments there. So Ms. Sue says that woman is a disgrace for the Minister of Education not to go to Clifton Hunter graduation and some others. Again, what would she have been doing that was so important that you don't show up to support our young people? You know, young people pay attention to these things, you know. Other ministers could find the time to go. Patricia Bryan says, then people want to know why their road works and detours at this hour on a busy Friday morning. I don't know. Maybe you do. Well, I was told that it was Water Authority doing some works. I don't really know. So what a hot mess. Irvlin says it depends on where in Santorini that you stay. No, the hotel that we stayed at was actually really nice in Santorini. And I must say the weather was lovely. It does seem to get a little bit warm there. So I think summers are pretty hot, but we got a little, had a little jacket because in the evenings, the temperature would drop. You could feel the difference in the air. And in Santorini, it felt cooler. I don't know if that was just ocean breeze or what, but it definitely felt a lot cooler in Santorini as well. Mr. Ranford says it'll soon be a civil war between the Chinese and Jamaicans in Jamaica. They spit when they see Black people, I hear. Oh, Chinese people? That's not nice. Oh my gosh. Not the spitting. No bueno. All right. 9362626. We've got a little bit of time left in the program. I'm still manually restarting the show every 5 minutes. Nikki is traveling. She's in Prague. She says it's a rainy day there today. Nikki is like a professional traveler. She's always taking a trip somewhere. I absolutely love it. All right, folks. So call in if you have any questions or comments. 9362626. We had to unpack this situation. A lot has happened since we were away. So let's do a couple more headlines and things that we would have missed. Of course, the RCIPS has made some progress with the murder investigation. So they've actually arrested and charged 3 people now. I don't even know who these people are. I don't hear nobody saying, this is so-and-so or whatever, child or whatever. I don't know. It's just the most bizarre thing. Are they not Caymanians? Who the heck are these young men going around killing people? Anyway, you guys saw the video that we put up of the wanted man in Jamaica. There's some sources in Jamaica who posted up that apparently he's in Spanish Town and he went and got his dreads cut off. And so they're like, if the police are looking for him, go to Spanish Town. Well, the RCIPS can't just go into Jamaica and go to Spanish Town and arrest a wanted man. They have to work with the Jamaican authorities. So JCF, JDF, whoever it is, they can work with them and get it sorted out. By the way, let me do a big shout out to, I think this was a JCF post. Jamaican authorities have taken to being quite humorous on their social media platforms when they are looking for someone. So they actually posted up. This had me cracking up. A couple of days ago on their Twitter account, they post like wanted people all the time. And they posted this guy and they made some comment like, oh, we know that the bus fare is expensive. So come, we'll pick you up for free. Classic that they're using social media in this way. And I got to tell you the truth. I chuckled and I thought, oh my gosh, the JCF is really on the ball. All right. So what else happened while I was gone? Gosh, so much stuff. A couple robberies. There was the one at the Rubis gas station. I think they've arrested the one at the convenience store in West Bay. Everybody seemed to know who he was anyway. Everybody like, oh, isn't that Manny or Emmanuel or whatever the heck his name is? So, let me just see what this is. So, yes, I was like, okay, well, if everybody knows who he is, why are the police asking us who he is? I mean, everybody's like, oh, we know exactly who he is. I'm like, okay. Anywho, I think they've now caught him, and I guess he'll be going through the court system. Please type in. Okay. So we had, what else did we have going on while I was gone? Oh gosh. Oh, in international news, Natalie Holloway's murder is finally solved. 2005. A lot of us were watching this case with interest when it happened. And of course, the person that we all knew, Vander Sloot, that he did it, Johan, whatever the heck his name is. Everybody knew he did it. Everybody knew his high-powered attorney, the father, was trying to protect him. But you see, you cannot protect evil people because eventually they expose themselves, right? So had he been arrested then and served time, another woman in Peru would still be alive today, most likely. But he was allowed to get away with the first incident, went on to murder another person. And all of these murders is because people keep rejecting him. And apparently they don't want to have sexual relations with him, women. And then he kills them. And so that's what he did to poor teenager Natalie Holloway. Well, I'm at least glad that her mother and her family now have some degree of closure, knowing what happened, why it happened, and how this monster took this young, innocent girl's life. Just absolutely horrific. What an evil, evil man. So he's going to serve time continue serving his sentence in Peru. The part of the story that I didn't like is apparently his American sentence of 20-something years is going to run alongside the Peru sentence. I'm like, why are they doing that? They should have grabbed him, and after he serves 20 years in Peru, which it's probably far worse than American jail. But you know what I'm saying? Make him turn around and serve another 20 on top of that. It should be a life sentence if you ask me. But anyway, he might not even make it out of a Peru jail because trust me, them people, they operate by a different set of rules. So we'll see how that goes for him. All right. Let me see what else is going on. Oh, the weather radar is down again. Child, I'm sick and tired. That's down more than it works. At this point, I'm just like, whatever. Let me see here. Okay. Right. All right. Let me see now. What else was in the news, honey chill? There was so much going on, I must tell you. I know I'm gonna miss a lot of it, but it's hard to go back in time now. Let me see here. UCCI got lots going on. Don't forget they had their STEM conference coming up. Young people, make sure you get on board with that. Oh, Katina Anglin is continuing her she's trying to continue her fight against civil partnership law. The appeals court has rejected her application for leave to go to the Privy Council. So they said, no, you're done now. This is ridiculous. So hopefully that's the end of that. But she seems to have a lot of time, energy, and I don't know where the money comes from. But anyway, other lawsuits we have. Oh, the Hamity situation has been resolved. Well, the court ruled in favor of the children and said that this new will was the latest will and final will and testament. I hope that they can move on now. So basically their legal arguments were that the other will, right, had additional people included in it, like new grandchildren and other people that weren't in the first will. So why did they file probate on the first will? I'm still very much perplexed by this case because I just don't understand how his own children were the ones who agreed that this is his final will and testament, and then come back later and said, oh no, there was another will that we discovered. Where was the will hiding? And why do you have multiple wills around the place, folks? You always destroy previous wills. So most bizarre situation. Strong Wilt asking about Tiffany. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Strong Wilt. So last week, was it on the 16th, I think? Was it the 16th or the 18th? Tiffany Conley, former really disgraced Miss Cayman, the last Miss Cayman under the government, ownership of that that franchise, was supposed to be sentenced, and it was delayed again. Me, personally, I, for one, I'm glad that it was delayed because I wasn't here and I couldn't find anybody to go to court. So now it's going to be November the 6th, I believe. I'll double check the date. And so I will be there to make sure we get the final decision. So they're still waiting on medical reports. Now, this case, I kind of made a joke to people in my WhatsApp group. I said, this case is kind of like, what's his name? Jeff Webb, where it's like delay, postponement. 50 years later, they're still postponing it. Now, Jeff Webb's situation is a little bit different. He will probably never serve a day in jail for that because he was singing like a canary. So, his situation is that they're probably trying to work out what they're going to do with him now that he has, he's going to testify against this one. He's going to sink everybody else, right? He's provided evidence. Listen, he's not going to serve any time in the United States of America. Send him back home because he has to come back to Cayman. And he's got several cases here that he has to answer to that will definitely send him to jail. Now, Cayman's jail is not the worst jail in the world, but jail is jail. And having your freedom taken away, well, there's something to be said for that once you've broken the laws of the country and you tried to steal from, you did steal from the people of the Cayman Islands and from the Cayman Island Football Association. By the way, speaking of the Football Association, I have heard your complaints, which have been forthcoming for some time. And I need to sit down and have a conversation with Mr. Whitaker to see exactly what is going on with the association. So there's a couple stories that came out while I was away about now players who want to transfer, having to pay a transfer fee. I don't know that I understand any of this. I don't know that it makes any sense. So I'm going to try to go to Mr. Whitaker and get some answers for you and see what he's willing to explain to us, because something not gelling. As some young people say, the math isn't mathing. So we're going to try and figure out exactly what is going on there. Let me see. So thank you, Strong Will, for that. Oh, YouTuber says, any details on the case with the East End father? Unfortunately, YouTuber, I know more than I care to know. Yes, there's an allegation of sexual assault of a man, not of the man, by a man against minor children in a residence in East End. He was arrested, I understand, this past Sunday, released on bail while investigations continue. The stories that I've heard about this man, everybody is innocent until proven otherwise. But I'm telling you, people who know him, nobody is surprised. People are like, not surprised. Other people are like, oh, there was an allegation by somebody else years ago, but the mother didn't believe that person. Now the mother's strung out on drugs and not even in the home, and this man having access to children. Boy, if there was ever a case where you could just chop off someone's little pee-pee, this would be it. Disgusting. And one of our own, an East Ender. Folks, let's let the system work. Right? Let justice take its course. But from what I have heard, this is a most disturbing case. The other thing I wanted to, just flipping back to Tiffany for one quick second. I must say that it gives me comfort that the magistrate in this case is asking for medical proof, because somebody can jump up and they say, that, I have PTSD, I suffer from childhood trauma, this, that, and the next thing. You can say anything you want. Whether it's true or not is a completely different situation. And whether or not you know that you have all these issues, if you sought professional help, why aren't you not taking your medication if the doctor has said you're bipolar? Why are you not going to your therapy sessions? You know, people expect that they can use mental health as a crutch to kind of do whatever they want and engage in all kind of bad behavior, but then they're not trying to help themselves. Medical health professionals are there for you, but you have to show up to your appointments. So the last time that Tiffany was in court, remember what the judge said? As part of the deal that they gave her when they didn't record a conviction, the deal was you go to therapy sessions. That's required. And did she go? No. So when you're not going to therapy and then something else happens and, you know, all of a sudden you're having another moment where you can't control yourself, you can't control your emotions, you can't handle the situation, right? Still nothing. You know, what are you going to do? Of course it's a problem, but you have to be willing to do your part. So I am pretty happy, in fact, that I'm hearing that the judge, the magistrate, because summary court, is requesting medical reports, requesting evidence. Do you really suffer from PTSD? Let's see the evidence of it. Anyway, folks, first day back. I'm not going to go into any overtime today because I do have an appointment that that I've got to get to on time this morning. Thank you all so much for tuning into the program. As Brenda says, Jeff did what he should have done, cut a deal, just got full immunity. He's done in time. He's done his time in the U.S. He doesn't have to return to Cayman. He's also a U.S. citizen. So let's just put that one to bed. But he has cases here. So even as a U.S. citizen, he can be extradited to Cayman. He's not, I can't remember if they found him guilty in absentia in the cases here. But to say put it to bed, I don't think that that's fair. If he's done something wrong, he should spend his jail time. Now, the deal with Americans, like I said, we've never really gotten any details of what that is. And what his plea deal might have consisted of. They keep saying that they're going to sentence him and they keep postponing the hearing. Like I said, I don't think that he's ever going to spend any time there. But I think the truth of the matter is that in Cayman, he has cases to answer to. And whether he's an American citizen or not, he's also a Caymanian. And he has broken the laws in this country. And so he should come and face, you know, the courts here, just like his co-accused did. It's not fair that the only people going to jail is Canova Watson. You know, bring the next man up too. He should be in jail right along with Canova. They can sit there and discuss their history together. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Water Authority, again, seems to be doing some works in the Lower Valley area. Some of you will not have any water as a result of it until I think after 2:00 today is what I'm now hearing. So yikes. Hopefully you didn't have anything too important at home to do with water today. Have a good day. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning and we'll talk about, thank you for the question. We will definitely talk about, not tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Today's Friday, Monday. I will see you guys. My days are all, the jet lag, is real. My days are all mixed up. But anyway, I'll see you guys on Monday. Please have yourselves an absolutely safe weekend.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.